Chapter 347. It looks like it, but I don't think anyone dares to practice it. Li Fan took another look at the drawing. If I practice this, all my martial arts will be wasted. So powerful? Lu Xinan was shocked. She thought that she had discovered a treasure, but it turned out to be a self-mutilating martial art? Then forget it. You should keep this drawing. I have no use for it anyway. Maybe one day you will discover its value. Alright then, I'll keep it first. I'll study it when I get back. Li Fan kept the drawing, then stood up with Ling Tian, preparing to leave. Wait. Lu Xinan suddenly called out to him. What's wrong? When are we going to visit our dad again? It's your dad. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why are you still relying on me? Aren't you my boyfriend? That's temporary. It's a show for your dad. It doesn't count, you know. Sigh, you men are just so irresponsible. Lu Xinan sighed. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Go and play by the side. Go and play with your gang training plan. Li Fan couldn't be bothered to communicate with Lu Xinan anymore. He left with Ling Tian. I can see that the gang leader of the Red Dragon Society likes you quite a bit. Ling Tian said to Li Fan while driving. Stop fooling around. That woman's acting skills are top-notch. Li Fan expressed that he had suffered greatly. If you believe her words, then you're just making things difficult for yourself. I've also seen a lot of actors, but some feelings can't be acted out. Ling Tian maintained confidence in his own judgment. I believe that if you want, you can become the son-in-law of the Lu family. And then? Li Fan just casually asked one more question. And then, I can't make a judgment right now. Why? Isn't your judgment very good? Li Fan said that there were things that Ling Tian couldn't determine. Of course, because if you're just an ordinary person, you'll become a sacrifice for the Lu family in the future. Ling Tian chuckled and said, after you help the Red Dragon Society become the most powerful society, Lu Shanlong will give you to his two old brothers to appease their anger. But if you're just an ordinary person, you won't have the ability to visit the Lu family, so it's very contradictory. Hearing Ling Tian's words, Li Fan was startled. This Ling Tian was indeed farsighted. So, Lu Xinan wanting to be with me is just a show. Li Fan said, this woman will do anything for her own benefit. I've seen her like that. This woman is really self-centered. Alright, let's not talk about her. What are your plans after this? Ling Tian asked Li Fan for his opinion. Not yet. Li Fan just wanted to have a good rest first. Let's take a rest first. Recently, I've been tossed and turned. There are a lot of things that I need to digest. Alright, you should also be more careful. Ling Tian also agreed with Li Fan's idea. Right now, all parties are watching you. If possible, it's good for you to travel and avoid this period of time. Recently, the Red Dragon Society might make some big moves. Maybe they'll fight with the other two big gangs. Being able to avoid arousing suspicion is naturally the best. Alright, then I'll take a leave from school and go out to play. Li Fan thought to himself, should I go abroad to look for my parents? If I go there, I won't be kicked away like a third wheel right. Forget it, I'll just find a place with verdant hills and clear waters. Li Fan had a good idea, but his phone suddenly rang. He didn't know why, but this ringtone sounded very urgent. Li Fan picked it up and saw that it was an unfamiliar number. Do you want to pick it up? I have to, it doesn't look good if I don't pick it up. Li Fan picked up the phone and heard a girl's voice. Li Fan. You finally turned on your phone. This voice was very familiar, and Li Fan was a little surprised. Yin Xiaoru? I've been looking for you for so long. You bastard. Yin Xiaoru scolded, and Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why are you scolding me the moment you call? Miss Yin, you're a lady, how can you be so uncultured? Uncultured my ass. I've been looking for you for so long, I'm going crazy. What's the matter, looking for me to marry? Li Fan teased, which made Yin Xiaoru unhappy again. Bullshit. I want you to do me a favor. What favor? Li Fan was very direct. How much money can you give? Money, 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 you only know money. Will you die if you don't give money? I'll die of poverty. Li Fan's words made Yin Xiaoru speechless. We can talk about the price. Is it convenient to talk over there? It's convenient to talk, but are you sure the price is okay? Li Fan reminded Yin Xiaoru, you already went bankrupt the last time. Humph, I'll get the money. I don't want dirty money. Dirty your sister, you're the dirty one, your whole family is dirty. Yin Xiaoru was obviously angry. Anyway, I'll definitely give you the money, do you want it or not? Say what's the matter first. Li Fan grumbled, you haven't even said anything, and you're already asking me if I want it or not. If you ask me to sleep with you, won't I lose a lot? Thanks my ass. Yin Xiaoru scolded, it's to help me, help my cousin. Help your sister. Help your sister for what? My sister is the daughter of the Golden Eagle Castle Lord. Huh? Li Fan was stunned, Yin Xiaoru had such a close relative. And also so rich. You have such a powerful relative, but you still want to go out and steal? Your sister, I'm not stealing for money. Yin Xiaoru was very unhappy, you're not allowed to tarnish my sacred profession. Forget it. Li Fan rolled his eyes, thief is even more sacred. Anyway, you're not allowed to say it. Yin Xiaoru hurriedly changed the topic, my cousin is too unlucky, it's already this era, and there's still a martial arts competition, this kind of feudal thing. I want you to win the martial arts competition and then leave. Sister, are you trying to make me happy? Li Fan almost laughed out loud, the people who participated in that groom search competition are not ordinary people. My cousin has a jade pendant passed down from her ancestors, it's priceless. Yin Xiaoru began to negotiate the price, if you help me this time, this jade pendant is yours. This is not a matter of money. It's probably worth more than 3 million. When should I go? Humph, didn't you say it's not a matter of money? Indeed it's not a matter of money, it's to resist this backward feudal superstition. Li Fan righteously said, this kind of thing absolutely cannot be done. Don't worry, leave this matter to me. Chapter 348. Li Fan decided to have a good discussion with Little Four Eyes and Ling Tian since he had received another big deal. But before that, Li Fan has to hurry back home to see his fiancée. Just as Li Fan arrived at the door was suddenly kicked open. A woman wearing a black mask with a murderous aura walks out of the door with a shining sword in her hand. Miss, you have to calm down. Second miss, stop big miss. Ah, second miss, why are you wearing a mask? The two beauties, one big and one small, walked out. Tai Zhu pulled them from behind, but he couldn't stop them. When the three of them saw Li Fan, they were all stunned. Brother-in-law. You're back. Murong has just put on a black mask and is shocked when she sees Li Fan standing outside the door. Murong is also stunned as she looks at Li Fan. Her hand which was holding the sword is very stable but at this moment, she can't help but tremble. I have a friend who helped to bail me out. You guys are, my son-in-law. You're back. Tai Zhu's eyes are red from crying. With such a sinister face and red eyes, it is even more frightening. The two misses are going to break the prison. Humph, who wants to break the prison? Murong snorts, I just couldn't sit still after dinner and went out for a walk under the moonlight. Brother-in-law, you're back. I was scared. Murong is a little disappointing as she wipes her tears, I thought you were going to be executed by the court, I was wronged, how can I be executed? Li Fan laughs, quick, quick, quick. Let's go back to the room and talk. It's cold outside. Are you alright? Murong can't help but ask, are you injured? Don't worry, who can injure me? I've made you worry. Who's worried about you? I'm just worried that you'll get hurt and lose face for my Murong family. Murong flicked her sleeves. Since there's nothing else, let's hurry home. She turned around and went back into the house. The moment she turned around, she seemed to be relieved. Brother-in-law, are you hungry? Are you cold? Come in quickly. Taizhu, go prepare dinner for brother-in-law. Murong seemed to care a little more about her brother-in-law. However, the others didn't think too much about it. After all, they felt more at ease knowing that Li Fan was back. Wife. Li Fan sat directly in front of Murong, which surprised Murong. Usually, he rarely looked for him. What was wrong with him today? Could it be that after staying in prison for a few days, he missed her? At least this man has some conscience. But she couldn't just let him be. If he didn't coax her, she wouldn't want to talk to him. Inexplicably, he had been caught, and it had been so long in an instant. If it wasn't for his appearance tonight, she would have broken into the prison. Wife, take a look at this diagram. Li Fan, on the other hand, took out a piece of paper and placed it in front of Murong. Brother-in-law, what's this? Seeing the meridian diagram that Li Fan took out, before Murong could say anything, Murong Ai couldn't help but ask. This is a diagram that I got by chance. Li Fan didn't explain in detail. The cultivation method on it is very strange. Why is it cultivating in reverse? Murong Ai carefully studied the meridian diagram. Isn't this suicide? Murong frowned. This is an evil cultivation method. Evil cultivation method? Why do you think so? Li Fan was still puzzled. Evil cultivation method can also be practiced, but this cultivation method, I'm afraid it can't even be practiced. That's true, but in theory, it seems to be feasible. Murong was the master in this aspect, but there is no need for me to explain the danger. In short, don't practice this cultivation method, otherwise you will definitely die from qi deviation. Don't worry, I won't practice it. I just want to take a look. Li Fan said and put away the diagram. In addition, I have one more thing to say. Tomorrow, I have to go out and do something. Humph. Murong immediately snorted. Recently you have been in prison for so long, your cultivation must have fallen. You are not allowed to go anywhere. These few days, I have to properly teach you martial arts. That's right, brother-in-law, I just came back. Sister misses you very much. How can you leave? Murong Ai also said hurriedly. Using her elder sister as an excuse was also logical. But the marriage contest was just around the corner, so Li Fan had to hurry up. To be honest, he really wanted to accompany Murong for 2 more days. It's like this, my wife, I am going to the Golden Eagle Castle. Li Fan cupped his hands and decided to be honest. Golden Eagle Castle? What are you going there for? Murong faintly guessed something. I won't hide it from my wife, I am going to participate in the marriage contest. For the first time, Li Fan was so honest with Murong. He felt that the two of them were engaged after all, so there should not be too many things to hide. Otherwise, the two of them would become more and more unfamiliar with each other. Marriage contest? Brother-in-law, you are crazy. You already have a sister, and you still want to participate in the marriage contest. Murong Ai also started to make a fuss, but Murong pressed her shoulder and said, let's hear him out first. The marriage contest is not my purpose. I am going there to compete. Li Fan explained, Bai Lin Luo also told me that this marriage contest will probably be attended by the elites of the younger generation in the martial arts world. I have been practicing martial arts for so long, but I am still not experienced enough. Therefore, this is my chance. I need to learn from these people and train myself through actual combat. Very good. Unexpectedly, Murong actually agreed. I feel that it is good that you are willing to be honest with me. Moreover, I also know a thing or two about this marriage contest. Indeed, there are some young talents from the major sects who will go to the Golden Eagle Castle. So you agree, my wife? Li Fan was a little surprised. He did not expect Muronging to agree so easily. He originally thought that she would first teach him a lesson. However, you do not have enough experience in the martial arts world. I am worried if you go alone. Muronging said as she gently touched her sister's head, let Xiao Ai accompany you, I can be a little more at ease. What? Let her accompany me? Li Fan was flabbergasted. Brother-in-law, don't look down on me, okay? When I was 12 years old, I already roamed the martial arts world by myself. Murong Ai said with some pride, I am also a veteran of the martial arts world. Fuck. Unbelievable, this is the truth. You bring her along. If you are worried, you can also let Taizhu accompany you. Muronging added. Li Fan almost peed his pants in fright. Taizhu has to serve you closely, otherwise I will not be at ease. Li Fan thought of a witty excuse. Chapter 349. If he let Taizhu accompany him, it would be worse than death. Even if Murong Love was with him, Li Fan didn't want to bring her along. This girl was simply a burden. He also had to be wary of the strange ideas in her little head. But now it wasn't up to him to decide. Muronging had already decided to bring his sister along, so he couldn't oppose it. Why don't you go with me? Li Fan felt that he and Muronging hadn't traveled together before. The two of them going to Golden Eagle Castle as a honeymoon trip seemed pretty good. Look, isn't it good for us to go on a honeymoon? No way. Muronging seemed to be a little moved for a moment, but she quickly shook her head, my identity is special, it's not suitable for me to go to this kind of occasion. Let Xiao Ai accompany you, I think it's a good training for both of you. Don't worry, sister, I will definitely take good care of brother-in-law. Murong Love waved her little fist, I will take care of his basic necessities. In this aspect, it's good that you take care of yourself first. Muronging looked at her sister dotingly. Because Murong Love was spoiled at home, Muronging always thought that although her sister had a lot of experience, her ability to take care of herself was a little poor. But she didn't know that she had underestimated her sister. Although Murong Love had the temper of a spoiled young lady, her ability to survive was also very strong. These few days when she and Taizhu weren't around, she cooked 3 meals a day, which was also very decent. She didn't know that this was specially learned by Murong Love in order to serve her brother-in-law. If Muronging knew that her sister became like this because of Li Fan, she didn't know how she would feel in her heart. Then when shall we leave? Murong Love seemed to have a little bit of expectation. What could be happier than going out to play with brother-in-law alone? What's the hurry? Don't tell me you're going to set off overnight. Muronging scolded. It was not easy for Li Fan to come back. She would definitely be reluctant to let him go. However, Muronging didn't want to ask him to stay directly, so she found an excuse. Since I'm going to participate in the joust for a spouse, I'll test out Li Fan's martial arts tonight to see if there's anything I lack. Muronging's random excuse was quite in line with Li Fan's current thoughts. Okay. I haven't sparred with my wife for a long time. Don't go easy on us. Li Fan's current strength had reached the pinnacle of perfection, and he had an epiphany about Buddhism in prison, so he was somewhat confident. Can I watch and learn from the side? Murong looked at them pitifully. Of course. Since Li Fan agreed, Muronging was naturally happy. She stood up, tidied up her clothes, and then said, Xiao Ai, you have to watch carefully. How much you can learn is up to your own ability. Okay, sister. I'll try my best. The two sisters looked very happy. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Were these two using him as a live target and a real person as a teaching material? I'll make some supper for everyone. Seeing that the two ladies were happy, Taizhu was also happy. She simply went to the kitchen to busy herself. This family finally gave Li Fan a little feeling of being part of his family. At this moment, he even thought how good it would be if he could live like this in the future. No, he was an ambitious man. How could he indulge in love affairs? Li Fan patted his face to wake himself up. He followed Murong and her sister to the training room. In the whole house, the most spacious place should be this training room. After not coming back for a long time, Li Fan actually had some nostalgia. It was here that he became stronger little by little. Xiao, AI, you just stand there and watch. Since you're here, you have to watch carefully. Yes, sister. Murong stood obediently on the side, watching how her sister trained her brother-in-law. Li Fan stood there with his feet in a straight line and his hands behind his back. Looking at his appearance, it was as if he wasn't facing a Wulin leader, but an ordinary Jianghu expert. Seeing Li Fan's state, Murong couldn't help but be moved. In less than a year, this young man had made such progress. Once upon a time, when he looked at her, he still had a kind of timidity and awe. But now, he could face her calmly. Just this kind of progress was already worthy of pride. However, compared to her, there was still a big gap. That's right, today is the day to re-establish my authority as a wife. Thinking of this, Murong stretched out her hand and beckoned to the side. A wooden sword that was placed on a nearby shelf flew over and landed in her palm. Only using a wooden sword to deal with me? Li Fan smacked his lips. Dear, you're looking down on me too much. To me, the sword is in my heart. Murong waved the wooden sword, bringing along a sharp sword aura, leaving a gully on the ground. If you don't believe me, you can try it yourself. Alright, then I won't be polite. As Li Fan said that, he took a step forward, leaving a footprint on the ground. His internal energy was very profound. In a short year, he had trained to the level that others could only achieve in 30 years. Li Fan directly stretched out his hands and grabbed Murong shoulders. The Seven Heroes' fist had already integrated into Li Fan's every move and style. What he was using now was the Bear Strikes grappling technique. Murong pointed the wooden sword in her hand and blocked in front of Li Fan's palm. If Li Fan were to ruthlessly grab down, his right hand would probably have a hole poked through it. Li Fan withdrew his right hand, but his left hand changed its move and slapped in front of him. Black Tiger Steel's Heart. Although he was grabbing towards Murong left chest, in the midst of a competition, he could not care less. Murong martial arts did not have any retreat or dodging. She still stood there, her other hand formed a sword finger and stabbed towards Li Fan's left palm. Li Fan retracted his palm, lowered his body and twisted his waist, driving the strength of his legs. A white deer reverse kick was sent straight towards Murong face. But Murong did not have the slightest bit of panic. Her sword stabbed downwards, stabbing towards Li Fan's knee. Li Fan's palm pushed against the ground, forcefully withdrawing his leg. He consecutively attacked 3 times, but was not able to get close to Murong body. This was his fiancée. The charm of a martial arts alliance leader. The higher his strength, the more he discovered Murong strength. She had only used a simple wooden sword, yet she had easily neutralized his 3 powerful attacks. Is that all? Murong looked at Li Fan, seemingly disappointed. Chapter 350. It's just a warm-up. As Li Fan spoke, he stood there, raised his hands, and opened his palms. The next part will be the highlight. Where the hell did you get your confidence from? Murong did not believe Li Fan's words. Suddenly, Li Fan clasped his hands together and a strong aura burst out from his body. Murong could not help but be shocked. Why does Li Fan's aura seem to have changed? Murong had an illusion that the person standing in front of her was not her fiancé Li Fan, but a bodhisattva who had descended from the sky. Ape-faced Buddha. As Li Fan entered this state, he felt as if he could see through everything in the world. Including Murong every move, it was as if he could see through everything. Buddhists had great wisdom. They could see through the appearance of things and see the essence of things. Apes were also very good at imitating. Now that they were combined with Buddhism, Li Fan had comprehended a new kung fu in addition to the killing move of the merciful palm. You're bluffing. Murong felt that Li Fan was just bluffing. She suddenly stabbed her sword at Li Fan's cheek, as if she wanted to leave a hole in Li Fan's face. If it was in the past, Li Fan would definitely tease Murong, saying that she wanted to ruin her husband's appearance. But in the state of the ape-faced Buddha, Li Fan was as calm as still water, as if he had forgotten his emotions. He tilted his head slightly and dodged Murong's long sword. As for Murong, she raised her other hand and pointed it at Li Fan's chest. Murong did not seem to be holding back. Every move was a killing move. However, Li Fan did the exact same thing as her. He formed a sword with his left hand and clashed with Murong's sword. Clang! It wasn't just the moves. In an instant, Li Fan had even imitated his opponent's circulation method. Their sword-like fingers collided and a metallic sound rang out. Next, the two of them moved their fingers away and struck other places. Murong was a little surprised. Li Fan actually imitated her moves 100%. How could this be possible? Which of his moves wasn't tempered through day and night practice? No matter how talented Li Fan was, it was impossible for him to comprehend it at first sight. Besides, his talent wasn't that high. He just relied on his pure yang body to improve a little faster than others. Again. As Murong spoke, she pointed her sword finger at Li Fan from a tricky angle. However, Li Fan was not flustered. He used the same sword finger with his left hand to block Murong's attack. Murong's eyebrows were tightly knitted, and her heart was tumbling like waves. Then let's try this move. As Murong spoke, she stabbed her sword into the ground. Then, she stretched out her beautiful right hand and condensed her sword aura. The unique cherry blossom sword aura caused the beautiful cherry blossom petals to spin rapidly under Murong's palm. But the next scene caused Murong's eyes to widen. She saw Li Fan also stretching out his right hand. The same cherry blossom sword aura appeared in his palm and spun rapidly above his palm. Impossible, Murong couldn't believe her eyes. Li Fan was actually able to completely imitate her moves. With a shake of her hand, the cherry blossom sword aura immediately pounced towards Li Fan. However, Li Fan also threw out the same cherry blossom sword aura. The two collided and produced dazzling sparks in the air. Murong was a little dumbfounded. Sister and brother-in-law are so powerful. I really can't accept it. I can also be more powerful. Forget it, as long as brother-in-law is powerful, it's fine. When Murong thought of this, she secretly took out a small green pill from her bosom and stuffed it into her mouth. Her face turned slightly green, but it quickly regained its color. Murong and Li Fan didn't notice this scene. The two of them were still sparring and fighting fiercely. Finally, Murong waved her hand and dispersed her sword aura. Li Fan also retracted his hands and stood there, looking at Murong, as though waiting for her to make a move. Although this move of yours is powerful, it has two fatal flaws. Murong had already regained her confidence as she smiled at her fiancé in front of her. Oh. Li Fan slightly raised his eyelids. Murong is so beautiful that even with his Buddha-like heart, he couldn't help but be moved. It is hard to imagine that such a beautiful woman is actually his fiancée. Fate is really a wonderful thing. First, although you can imitate it, you can't imitate the same power. Murong said, I have restrained myself and only used 30% of my strength to fight with you. If I use 100% or more, your imitated move can only be defeated by me. I admit this. Li Fan admitted it graciously. The other point is even more fatal. Because you can only imitate the move that the opponent is using. You can't imitate the move that the opponent has used. You are indeed my wife, your eyes are really sharp. Li Fan nodded, since that's the case, I won't hold back. Li Fan said and took a deep breath. His body suddenly began to change. Just like when he was a bear rider, his body suddenly expanded a bit, but it was not exaggerated, just making his muscles more plump. Ape-faced Buddha, you can attack and defend. Now it's time to get serious. As soon as Li Fan said this, he stretched out a finger and pointed to the sky. Murong Ying's gaze moved in that direction, but in the next second, Li Fan's body disappeared in front of her. The spirit monkey escaped. This was a clever move by Li Fan. Murong Ying immediately turned around and stabbed her sword behind her. Li Fan appeared right in front of her. One of his hands was placed on his waist, while the other was aimed at Murong Ying. Ape King Cannon. Li Fan's palm brushed past Murong Ying's sword fingers and slapped towards her shoulder. Li Dan's palm was like a cannonball, obviously prepared to fight with Murong Ying until both of them were injured. But Murong Ying's expression did not change at all. Seeing their moves about to land on each other, Murong was scared out of her wits and almost screamed. But at a distance of less than 2 millimeters, both of them stopped their moves at the same time. You've improved. Murong Ying nodded and praised Li Fan. If that's the case, you have an 80% chance of winning in this martial arts competition. Are you sure? It's just a guess. After all, I don't know much about those youths. Murong Ying gently supported her chin with her hand. She looked a little troubled. Why? Aren't you the same age? But they are too weak, not on the same level as me. Murong Ying's words were especially provocative. The ones I defeat are usually their masters or leaders. Damn, only Murong Ying could say something like that. Li Fan was convinced by her words. Chapter 351. After comparing notes with Murong Ying, Li Fan took a bath and was ready to sleep. But just as he laid on the bed, he heard Murong Ying's voice. Husband, come to my room. Li Fan was startled. This is Murong Ying's 1,000-mile sound transmission. This girl, looking for me in the middle of the night, what's going on? Didn't we just compare notes? Why is she calling me? Don't tell me she's addicted to the fight and wants to play again. Fuck, no, I'm very sleepy. Come here. Otherwise, don't even think about sleeping. The urging voice sounded. Li Fan was extremely annoyed. Tossing me around in the middle of the night, how can I sleep? Li Fan could only lazily climb up from the bed. Wearing only a pair of boxer shorts, he opened the door and silently walked toward Murong Ying's room. It was so late, he didn't want to wake up the others. Sure enough, Murong Ying left a gap in the door. Li Fan slipped in. Murong Ying sat on the bed, wearing blue pajamas. She stared at Li Fan with her round eyes. Why aren't you wearing clothes? Murong Ying's 1,000-mile sound transmission. Nonsense, do you wear clothes when you sleep in the middle of the night? Li Fan rolled his eyes. If I didn't want to see you, I wouldn't even wear underwear. You pervert. Who is a pervert? Seeing your wife, you still need to wear clothes. What kind of logic is this? Li Fan unhappily said, if this is someone else's house, the two of you would be sleeping together naked. You pervert. Murong Ying spat and then slightly blushed as she looked to the side and said. Naked. That is impossible. But wearing pajamas, we can sleep together. Huh? Li Fan suspected that he misheard. Murong Ying went to the bed and covered herself with the quilt. Humph, forget it if you don't want to come up. Wife, your husband is coming. At this critical juncture, how could Li Fan say that he wasn't going? Holy shit, then he would be a real monk. Putting aside the ape-faced Buddha state, Li Fan was a pure man through and through. At this time, his body movement was completely displayed, and he easily got into Murong Ying's bed. Damn, how many years has it been since I last slept on a bed? This blanket is so warm and fragrant. Why else would it be said that the gap between men and women was huge? The fragrance on a woman's body was definitely a terrifying attraction to men. Murong Ying lay on the side and did not say a word. Only her shallow breathing could be heard. At this time, she definitely couldn't fall asleep, right? Wife, are you asleep? Li Fan asked, but Murong Ying didn't say anything and didn't reply to Li Fan. Wife? Why aren't you talking? Are you shy? Who's shy? I'm just a little sleepy, Muronging finally said something. Li Fan chuckled. They were lying on the same bed, and Li Fan could even feel Murongying's body temperature. Wife, why did you think it through today and want to sleep with me? Didn't you say, husband and wife sleep together? Murongying's voice was lower than usual. Moreover, your external martial arts are very solid, you don't need to sleep with ropes anymore, then when can we have children? Li Fan was being insatiable. Murongying stretched out her finger and poked him hard in the waist. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This woman was the leader of the martial arts world, but she was too shy. It started to rain outside, and the sound of the rain hitting the glass was so clear. The two fell into an awkward situation. For a long time, no one said a word. But, wife. Li Fan decided to break the deadlock. He opened his mouth and said, didn't you say that you want to carry on the family line? If we don't have children, how can we complete this great plan? Your mind. Why are you always thinking about these lewd things? Carrying on the family line is a sacred and inviolable right and obligation of human beings. Li Fan said righteously, how did it become a matter of lust? Miss Muronging, I'm going to reprimand you. You are also a progressive young woman living in the modern world. How can you have such a backward thinking? Go to hell. In short, you're not thinking about anything good. This was not the first day that Muronging knew Li Fan. She wouldn't be fooled by his few words. Then. Are we going to have a child or not? Li Fan patiently guided her, I have even thought of a child's name. Let's call it Li Ai Ying. Call it Murong Afan. You're a feminist. Then let's have two. One with the surname Li and the other with the surname Murong. It was rare for Muronging to take a step back. Li Fan was overjoyed, wife, you agree. Muronging didn't say anything. This silence seemed to be an indirect encouragement. Li Fan felt that he couldn't bear it anymore. Winter was coming, and spring was not far away. The day of sowing had arrived. Li Fan felt that he had a great responsibility. He had to work hard to be a hard-working farmer. He flipped over and pressed down on Murongying's body. Although Muronging practiced martial arts all year round, her body was still soft. This made Li Fan restless. And Muronging simply closed her eyes. Her heart was beating so fast for the first time. Finally, I can be one of Li Fan's people. But I don't seem to have much experience. My mother passed away when I was young, and no one taught me how to do it. No, I have to study hard. Otherwise, when Xiao Ai gets married, I have to teach her these things. It's so hard to be a sister. Being a wife doesn't seem so easy. I want to be on top. Muronging suddenly opened her eyes and said to Li Fan, who was trying hard to unbutton her pajamas. Why? Li Fan was struggling to sow seeds. Hearing her words, he was stunned. Because I'm the head of the family. I have to be on top. Murongying's answer made Li Fan feel like he was about to collapse. And I have to be in charge. Damn, you're still playing feminism with me at this time. Li Fan said that Muronging was too headstrong. Anyway, I want to be on top. Before she could finish her words, Li Fan had already covered her mouth with his. Muronging moaned a few times and didn't say anything else. She was kissed by Li Fan. And Li Fan's hands were not honest. While kissing Muronging, he continued to unbutton her blouse. Damn, how could the quality of this pajamas be so good? If only it were the kind of pajamas that could be used with one pull. Li Fan was in a hurry. He finally unbuttoned most of the buttons, and the great rivers and mountains of the motherland were already in front of him. And there were a few lightning strikes outside, as if they were brewing passion for their plan to make a baby. Li Fan grasped the ball he had been dreaming of. The good days were finally coming. Chapter 352. Just when Li Fan planned to understand the geological structure of the mountain, the door was suddenly knocked. Li Fan and Murong were shocked at the same time. At this time, Murong Ai's shout came from outside. "Sister, I'm scared. Let me in." Murong didn't hesitate and directly kicked Li Fan to the ground. Li Fan couldn't help it. He knew that Murong was thin-skinned after all. He cursed Murong Ai in his heart. It wasn't easy for him to have a chance to have a real married life with Murong, but he encountered this kind of thing. What thunder? Is it a tribulation? There was also Murong Ai. She was already a big girl. Why would she be afraid of thunder? She had done too many guilty things. Li Fan rolled and hid under the bed. Murong had already got out of bed and opened the door. "Sister, it's so scary." Murong Ai seemed to be really afraid of thunder. As soon as she came in, she threw herself into her sister's arms. Li Fan was so envious. When could he be so close to Murong? Unfortunately, both of them were thin-skinned. They couldn't accept this kind of thing. "You're already so big. You're still afraid of thunder." Murong reached out and scratched her sister's nose. "I'm just afraid, sister will hug me to sleep." Murong loved to act coquettishly, which aroused her sister's pity. "Okay, then sister will hug you to sleep." Damn! Why did she agree so quickly? Li Fan almost vomited blood. How can this be? If you sleep with her, what should I do? Li Fan really wanted to kill someone. Hee, sister, why don't you sleep with brother-in-law? Murong Ai jumped onto her sister's bed and then leaned against Murong, but she asked in a sweet voice. "He doesn't behave well. I don't want to sleep with him." Murong coughed dryly, feeling a little awkward. Murong's question about love really hit the nail on the head. "Sister, what's wrong with brother-in-law?" "I think he's pretty good. His kung fu is pretty good, and he's also very enterprising. According to the books, this kind of man is the most popular and the most sought after." "What books are you reading?" Murong laughed bitterly. "He is indeed very ambitious, but my Murong family is a martial arts clan that has been passed down for hundreds of years. When it comes to our generation, we are all females and need males to inherit the family business. Therefore, he must change his surname to Murong. Given brother-in-law's personality, I'm afraid he won't agree, right?" Murong had a good grasp of Li Fan's character. Indeed. He's too stubborn. When the two sisters started talking about Li Fan, he hid under the bed and began to eavesdrop on their conversation. It was rare for him to listen to Murong and her sister's heart-to-heart talk. "Every time we talk about this issue, his attitude is very tough." Murong explained, "Therefore, I can only settle for the next best thing. I decided to let my future children take Murong's surname. Brother-in-law won't agree, right? Let's have two." Murong Ying's answer was impeccable. A living person can't hold his urine to death. "Then, sister, have you ever thought of changing fiancé?" Murong suddenly asked the main topic. "There are so many young talents in Jianghu. Why don't you find one who is pleasing to your heart and follows your heart? Choosing a husband is like buying a lottery ticket." Murong made an analogy. "You need to be lucky to run into a winner." "Then, sister, you mean, Li Fan is already very good for you?" "Humph, he's full of shortcomings." "How is he good?" "That's true. Brother-in-law probably doesn't have any good points." "Then, sister, you should choose another candidate." Murong Ai seemed to be tempting her sister. "He's not full of shortcomings, at least, he's quite hardworking. In short, I don't want to find other boys for the time being. They can't enter my discerning eyes." "Then, sister, you mean, brother-in-law can enter your discerning eyes?" I guess he's just barely, but I see that sister and brother-in-law are not happy. They don't look like a couple." Murong Ai continued to make some kind of attempt. "I know some young talents. Why don't I help sister choose a good husband? Find someone who is compatible with you. Go to hell. Little girl, do you know what is compatible with you? Sister, I'm not that young anymore. Murong Ai was somewhat unwilling. I've watched a lot of TV dramas. Isn't love just like that? As for what is compatible with you, I don't know. But when I look at sister and brother-in-law every day, I feel that you two don't have the kind of affection between husband and wife. You're still too young. I'm really not young anymore. If it was in the past, I'd be a mother of several children. You don't always let your imagination run wild with useless things. This time, when you go out with your brother-in-law, you should properly learn. Although he's stubborn, he has his unique charm. Since you're by his side, you should also learn from him. Rest assured, sister. I'll definitely help you keep a close eye on him. I won't let him fool around. Humph, he dares. The two sisters chatted about some trivial matters. Muronging lightly lifted her leg and knocked her heel on the bed. Her true chi spread out and passed under the bed, shaking Li Fan. Li Fan understood that she was chasing him away. Damn it, I just got a warm bed and now I'm being chased away. This is really unfair. God, what are you doing? How can you let a wise and powerful person like me become a widow? Li Fan wanted to cry but had no tears. He looked for an opening, and with a flick of his hand, he immediately rushed forward far away. Almost like a shadow, he brushed against the open door and left Murong Ying's room. Once he slept on the bed, Li Fan really didn't want to sleep on the rope anymore. He simply jumped from upstairs to the sofa in the living room and lied on the soft sofa. Although Muronging didn't like to put on airs like Lu Xinnan, she was also very meticulous. This sofa was a famous brand. Lying on it was more comfortable than lying on the bed. Li Fan was also tired. He closed his eyes and soon fell asleep. One day later, Li Fan set off with Murong. Why are we taking the train? Murong loved to wear a beautiful dress. She seemed to like this type of clothes. Moreover, this kind of clothes suited her better. From afar, she looked like a porcelain doll. Li Fan followed behind her with two big suitcases in his hands. Thinking about when he went out in the morning, he couldn't help but feel scared. Taizhu even stuffed the dumbbells into the suitcases, saying that it was to exercise his body outside. Damn it, if not for practicing martial arts, 2 dumbbells could make Li Fan's arms break. Big miss, how can I afford to take a plane? Li Fan rolled his eyes. It's good enough that you don't have to walk. Chapter 353. Li Fan and Muronging were walking together, while Yan Kai, Guan Wenbao, and Huang Lei were walking on the other side. It was said that she was Li Fan's sister-in-law and the sister of the chief of Wulin, Muronging. Although Yan Kai was very interested in chatting, he was stopped by Guan Wenbao. Looking at Huang Lei, he was definitely a bag carrier, carrying several bags behind him. Hey! Both of you are martial arts masters. Can't you help me share the burden? Huang Lei was so tired that he was panting. You call yourselves masters? Damn you! What do you know? This is training you. Yan Kai was still wearing a white coat with a short ponytail. He was walking in front with his arms crossed. His handsome face had attracted the attention of many girls around him. Li Fan said that he wanted to train you and make your body stronger. This is the most basic training. You should be grateful for this opportunity. Bah! You stinky ladyboy, don't you feel embarrassed? Huang Lei could not help but curse. Why do you have to carry me? Can't you carry some yourself? No way. Luggage will only affect my handsomeness. Yan Kai stretched out his hands and cupped his face. This dirty luggage is a perfect match for you. Damn, you damn ladyboy. Narcissist. Huang Lei felt that he wanted to beat this guy up, but he was no match for him. You are too cruel and inhumane. I said this is to train you. Yan Kai was a little impatient. Why don't you appreciate it? Then don't you need to train? Old Guan. Yan Kai did not say much. He just turned his head and gave Guan Wenbao a look. Guan Wenbao nodded, then reached out, took off his wrist guard, and threw it on the ground. Bang! A spider web pattern appeared on the ground. Huang Lei's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Fuck, what is this? It's getting heavier. Guan Wenbao bent down to pick up the wrist guard and answered, one of them weighs 10 kilograms. Huang Lei took a closer look. Guan Wenbao was wearing 2 wrist guards and leggings. They were probably not light. He swallowed his saliva and looked at Yan Kai with contempt. What about you? Why didn't you bring anything? Fool. Yan Kai was very disdainful. The big sword between my legs is 30 kilograms. Do you want to try? Fuck you. That's called the big treasure sword at the waist. Oh, it feels the same. Yan Kai's casual attitude made Huang Lei want to curse. Old Guan, what are you thinking about? Seeing Guan Wenbao staring at Murong, Huang Lei could not help but ask, are you interested in my brother's sister-in-law? Don't talk nonsense. Guan Wenbao glared at Huang Lei. Then why are you staring at her but? Your eyeballs are almost flying out. Vulgar. Guan Wenbao immediately defended himself. I was just thinking, how much of Murong Ying's sister-in-law's kung fu will be inherited from her sister? She's just a little girl. How can she be compared to a rough man like you? Huang Lei felt that Guan Wenbao was thinking too much. Murong Ying was only 15 years old, but she had already traveled all over the world. At 16 years old, she defeated all the masters in the world and became the leader of the martial arts world. Fuck. Are you kidding me? Huang Lei was shocked. How could such a young girl be so powerful? It's a pity that I've always been fascinated by her, but never had the chance to meet her. Every martial artist admired such a master. In Jianghu, Murong Ying even had her own fan club. My brother is still the best. He even managed to get such an awesome girl. Huang Lei admired his brother even more. What are they whispering behind us? Murong liked to hear the 3 whispering behind her. She could not help but raise her eyebrows. Are they talking bad about me? Do you think everyone is like you? Li Fan rolled his eyes. They're just chatting normally. Why are you so curious about that? Hee hee, brother-in-law, I'm still young. It's normal for me to be curious. Curiosity killed the cat. Murong said coquettishly. Anyway, brother-in-law will take care of me. Didn't your sister ask you to take care of me? Why did you change your routine? I'm still young. Then you might as well not come. That won't do. This is such a lively martial arts competition. I must go and take a look. Murong hurriedly said. Moreover, I must keep an eye on you for my sister. Ha, you're saying it as if I'm going to cheat. Li Fan could not help but laugh. Brother-in-law is so young and so powerful. There will definitely be a girl who will be attracted to you. Murong hurriedly said, don't worry about me, sister. Li Fan did not say anything. He just felt strange. This Murong's innocent look is completely different from before. However, she was the same as Lu Xinnan. She was best at acting, and she was a pure actor. He didn't know what kind of wicked idea she was thinking in that little head of hers under her innocent appearance. Come to watch the fun with me. Murong was born in the Murong family. What has she not seen? There must be something in this Golden Eagle castle that is attracting her. This time, I brought her along not because she is keeping an eye on me, but because I have to keep an eye on her to prevent her from doing something bad. Brother-in-law, what are you thinking about? I'm thinking about what kind of wicked idea you have in mind. Li Fan's words made Murong pout. How could that be? Brother-in-law, how can you think of me so badly? I was a little willful in the past, but I'm still young. If I know my mistake, I'm a good child, right? You did a bad thing yesterday. Ah. Murong AI was shocked. No, I've been wrongly accused. Brother-in-law, you can't wrongly accuse me for no reason. If I say there is, then there is. Fine. Brother-in-law is bullying. Murong lowered her head. Li Fan said, is he angry because of what I said? But I did do a bad thing yesterday. Moreover, it is a big bad thing. But after all, I'm just a little girl. If I say it like this, will it have a big psychological impact on her in the future? When Li Fan was regretting and thinking if he should say some soft words, Murong secretly raised her head and licked her lips at Li Fan. But I love being bullied by brother-in-law the most, hee. Fuck, I still underestimated this little lass. In short, this trip to Golden Eagle Castle, you must play your part. Otherwise, I'll throw you away halfway. Woo, brother-in-law is so ruthless. Murong cried out, then I'll be brother-in-law's little tail. Brother-in-law, please don't throw me away. Then you listen. Before Li Fan could finish his words, someone suddenly shouted from the side. Murong, you're here. Chapter 354. The two turned their heads at the same time and saw a young man in a Chinese tunic suit standing next to them. Although this young man's appearance was average, his bearing was extraordinary, and he faintly had the demeanor of a master. He waved at Murong Ai, but Murong Ai curled her lips. What the hell, why is it him? Xiao Ai, it's really been a long time. Behind the young man were two sturdy men who seemed to be experts. After all, Li Fan had practiced martial arts for a long time, so he still had a good eye. The two big men were in their 30s, and they were carrying luggage. Each of them had calluses on their hands, steady footsteps, and focused eyes. At a glance, one could tell that they were masters of both internal and external cultivation. The young man in the Chinese tunic suit had a bulging temple, and his eyes were flowing. Obviously, he was a master of internal martial arts. Does this person know Xiao Ai? Young Master Tang, what a coincidence. Although she heard Murong Ai's grumbling, she still put on a smile and bowed to the young man opposite her. Long time no see. Xiao Ai, you're getting more and more beautiful. The young man walked straight over and didn't even look at Li Fan, who was next to him. It seemed that Murong Ai was the only one in his eyes. I said, we're fated to meet. Look, it's really a reunion from 1,000 miles away. Young Master Tang thinks too highly of me. Murong Ai's smile was especially sincere, and one could not tell that it was a fake smile at all. Regarding this, Li Fan admired his sister-in-law very much. The little golden statuette of the Oscar was already waving at her. Young Master Tang, you must be going out with your big and small bags, right? I won't disturb you anymore, you go ahead. Murong Ai pushed him away with a smile, looking as if she understood him. But the young man did not want to leave just like that. Instead, he sighed and said, Sigh, it's all because of my father. He insisted that I go to Golden Eagle Castle to participate in that annoying martial arts competition for a spouse. Why would I like the daughter of Golden Eagle Castle? Xiao Ai, don't you know who I like the most? Xiao Ai is dumb, I really don't know. Murong began to play dumb. Brother-in-law, they are also going to the Golden Eagle Castle. She hugged Li Fan's arm. The young man's eyes suddenly erupted with intense jealousy. His gaze was like two knives stabbing towards Li Fan. But Li Fan still stood there, unmoved. It seemed that this was the pursuer of Murong's love. He actually liked this little girl. He was really too unlucky. Little sister Xiao Ai, I haven't introduced you. Who is this? Oh, I was careless. I'm sorry. Murong held her brother-in-law's arm and introduced him generously. This is my brother-in-law, Li Fan. Your little tyrant Li Fan. The jealousy in the youth's eyes deepened. He extended his hand and said, 8 trigrams school, Tang Wei. Nice to meet you. Li Fan shook hands with him. As someone who practiced 8 trigrams palm, this brother's hand clenched tightly as if he was going to crush Li Fan's hand. But Li Fan's external cultivation was quite high. His daily hard work did not let him down. No matter how hard Tang Wei tried, he remained calm. I've heard of little tyrant's name for a long time. Seeing you today, you are indeed extraordinary. Tang Wei finally let go of his hand and placed it behind his back. He looked at Li Fan with a smile. His hand was very red and swollen. He had wanted to give Li Fan a show of strength, but he did not expect to be beaten up by him. He had practiced 8 trigrams palm since he was young, and his hands were stuck in the hot sand. This pair of iron palms was Tang Wei's pride. But after shaking hands with Li Fan, he actually lost. This made Tang Wei very unconvinced. In terms of real palm techniques, he definitely had the upper hand. Xiao Ai, he is very busy. Don't disturb him. Let's go. Li Fan brought Murong Ai and wanted to leave. He did not have a good impression of this youth. Alright, brother-in-law. It's my fault. I shouldn't have disturbed him. Murong Ai happily followed Li Fan, but Tang Wei stopped them. Little sister Xiao Ai and Li Fan, could it be that you are going to Golden Eagle Castle as well? That's right. Li Fan knew that he could not hide it anymore, so he nodded. This is really interesting. You already have the famous Martial Alliance master, and you actually have your eyes on the daughter of Golden Eagle Castle? That's right. As a man, isn't it normal to have multiple wives and concubines? Li Fan didn't want to explain further. Tang Wei could think whatever she wanted. What an honest man. Tang Wei chuckled, little sister Xiao Ai, your brother-in-law is really fickle. It doesn't matter. My sister and I like this kind of brother-in-law. Murong Ai did not care and said, this is a true temperament of a good man. Tang Wei almost vomited blood. This is a true temperament of a good man. This is fucking bad. Forget it. Since your sister doesn't care, I don't need to be nosy. Tang Wei held back the anger in his heart, since we are going the same way, why don't we go together? That won't do. The train is so big. I have to find my own seat. Murong Ai said and looked at her train ticket, I am in the 12th carriage, 22nd seat. What a coincidence. Tang Wei clapped his hands, I am also in the 12th carriage, 23rd seat. We are facing each other. Li Fan seemed to be able to hear Murong Ai's cursing voice. This journey was going to be troublesome. They met such a guy who was sitting opposite them. This kind of character was really rare. It seemed that he had to burn incense and pray to Buddha. Then take care of me along the way. Li Fan was too lazy to say anything else. The few of them lined up and got on the train. As expected, they were sitting opposite each other. This seat was for 2 people. Beside Tang Wei sat a big man from his family. The big man sat upright and still, looking very serious. Young Master Tang, I remember you are from Anhui. Why did you come here? She asked after the train slowly started. Because my family asked me to go down the mountain to gain experience. After all, I am at the age to go out and explore the world. Back then, the chief of the martial arts world, Murong Ying, traveled to famous mountains and rivers at the age of 15 and visited all the martial arts schools under the heavens. How enviable. Yes, yes. Young Master Tang is really ambitious. Murong Ai did not want to complain. Her sister was traveling alone, but this guy was traveling with 2 bodyguards. He was really shameless. However, the financial situation of the 8 trigram school was not very good. After all, martial arts had declined in recent years. Otherwise, they would not have let their young master take the train, and a green one at that. Ah lo, I want to eat oranges. Tang Wei ordered, peel one for Miss Murong as well. Yes, young master. The big man beside him immediately took out 2 wrinkled oranges from his bag and started peeling them. Li Fan was on the verge of breaking down. Damn, this young Master Tang did not even know how to peel oranges. Chapter 355. But the big man's action attracted Li Fan's attention. The big man held an orange in his left hand and gently tapped the orange with his right hand. Ordinary people couldn't see the true qi. But Li Fan was very strong and had a unique eyesight, so he clearly saw the big man's true qi. The true qi was like a spiral blade, cutting a circle on the skin of the orange. Patter! The orange peel fell off, and the orange inside was still intact. Sister Xiao AI, have won. Looking at the enthusiastic Tang Wei, Murong didn't know what to say. But she had no interest in an orange peeled by a big man, so she hurriedly refused. I don't want to eat it. I've been suffering from excessive internal heat recently. Ah, then hurry up and peel an orange for Sister Xiao AI. Tang Wei clapped his hands, and Murong almost collapsed. No, I don't have an appetite. Forget about eating. Young Master Tang, I'm sorry, let me rest for a while. With that, Murong leaned on Li Fan's shoulder, a little drowsy. It was really boring to take the train. It would be great if his sister paid for it, then they could take a plane over. But there was no plane in Golden Eagle Castle, so they had to take the train. Alas, it was really annoying. Especially Tang Wei, who was so annoying. She was really unlucky. She thought she and her brother-in-law were going to travel together, but there were 3 little attendants. Then they got on the train, but before they could enjoy their time together, they met another big idiot. Unhappy. Sister Xiao AI, are you a little carsick? Tang Wei hurriedly asked, I have carsick pills here. Sister Xiao AI, do you want to take one? No, thank you, Murong murmured in her heart, you're a man, but you still prepared carsick pills when you go out. I'm going to sleep for a while, see you later. With that, Murong really closed her eyes. Out of sight, out of mind. Looking at Murong leaning on Li Fan, Tang Wei was slightly envious and jealous. This Murong is getting prettier and prettier. She seems to be even prettier than her sister. That damned Li Fan. Not only did he have a beautiful alliance master as his fiancée, he even had such a cute and beautiful sister-in-law. It would be great if he could get Murong's love. Not only would he have a top-notch wife, but he would also get half of Murong's family's wealth. Little Sister Xiao AI, sleep for a while. I'll wake you up when we arrive. Tang Wei tried his best to make his presence known. When he saw that Murong seemed to have really fallen asleep, he reluctantly moved his gaze away and looked at Li Fan. Young hero Li, I've heard that you're young. Now that I've seen you today, it seems like the rumors are true. At your age, you should still be in university, right? You flatter me. I'm still in high school. Tisk tsk, so young, Tang Wei looked at Li Fan with eyes full of jealousy. Say, sometimes I'm also very curious. What exactly does Alliance Master Murong like about you? I also don't know. Maybe it's because my dick is big. Li Fan's words could make Tang Wei vomit blood. How could this Li Fan speak so vulgar? Young hero Li, no matter what, you're an educated person. How could you speak so vulgar? Oh. Am I vulgar? Li Fan laughed, I think it's okay. But I think some people like to inquire about some useless gossip. It's a bit vulgar. His meaning made Tang Wei gnash his teeth. Young hero Li, you have little experience in the Jianghu, so you might not understand. I've roamed the Jianghu for some time and can be considered as your senior. As your brother, there are some words that I have to say in advance. Young Master Tang, please say it. Li Fan muttered in his heart, this guy is really good at acting. Huang Lei and Yan Kai were at the side. The 3 of them were happily playing landlord and didn't care about themselves. Damn, there's really something wrong with this team. I have to reorganize it later. This time's martial arts competition for a spouse will be attended by the young talents of the Jianghu. There are many experts as powerful as me. If young hero Li goes rashly, I'm afraid it'll be very dangerous. Moreover, at that time, young hero Li won't have time to take care of little sister Xiao, AI. How about this, entrust little sister Xiao, AI to me and let me take care of her. What do you think? No. Li Fan rejected Tang Wei's request without hesitation. Why? This is the best way. You're too ugly. I'm afraid little sister Xiao, AI will feel disgusted if she looks at you for a long time. Li Fan's words were already quite impolite. He and Murong were different. If he didn't like someone, he would definitely not greet them with a smile. Li Fan, you're a bit too arrogant. Tang Wei was about to slap the table when Li Fan suddenly grabbed his wrist. I'm sorry, little sister Xiao, AI is still sleeping. Please keep quiet. Before Tang Wei could speak, the big man at the side suddenly made a move. He chopped at the back of Li Fan's hand with his knife hand. Obviously, he wanted to cripple Li Fan's hand. Li Fan was clear that with his control of true qi, he definitely wouldn't be able to hurt his young master's hand below. However, Li Fan didn't stand on ceremony. He directly grabbed Tang Wei's wrist and turned his palm to meet the big man's knife hand. The big man was shocked and immediately withdrew his knife hand. However, he couldn't withdraw the strength that he had already exerted, so he subconsciously chopped at the car window beside him. Crack! Cracks appeared on the car window as if it would shatter at any time. Stop! Tang Wei was in so much pain that he trembled with his true qi and wanted to withdraw his wrist. However, Li Fan's hand didn't care about his true qi and still firmly grasped it, making it impossible for Tang Wei to break free. Young Master Tang, this train is public property. Don't casually destroy it. Li Fan, if you have the guts, let go of young master's hand. Let's fight. Tang Wei's face turned red and he issued a challenge to Li Fan. There's no hurry. If we're fated, we'll meet again in the arena. Li Fan said with a smile, but young Master Tang, can you be quiet for a while? I like to cultivate and I hate noisy people the most. Who's noisy? Li Fan, don't go too far. Tang Wei was somewhat embarrassed. Li Fan didn't say much. On the train, there was no need to force the other party too much. When he loosened his hand, Tang Wei also took the opportunity to withdraw his arm. Sleep for a while, young Master Tang. There's still a long way to go. Humph, I don't need your concern. Tang Wei rubbed his wrist, you still haven't seen my real kung fu. Li Fan, you just hope that you won't meet me in the arena. Otherwise, I'll break your legs and pull out your tendons. When Guan Wenbao heard this, he couldn't sit still and directly stood up. Chapter 356. Old Guan worshipped Li Fan as if he was a god. Now that he heard that an arrogant guy dared to insult his benefactor, he was not happy at all. Guan Wenbao was tall and burly, and one could tell at a glance that he had an extraordinary bearing. He was completely different from Li Fan, who looked very ordinary. Tang Wei had traveled in Jianghu and he had seen some real masters. The moment he saw Guan Wenbao, he knew that this man must be very powerful. Full of smelly farts, are you done yet? Guan Wenbao scolded angrily. His voice was full of true qi, like a thunderbolt. The people in the train were originally sleepy, but they were all startled awake in an instant. They scrambled to see what was going on. The two burly men couldn't sit still. Both of them tensed up and stared at Guan Wenbao. Old Guan, we still have a long way to go. Don't worry. Sit down and have a rest. Li Fan knocked on the table with his finger. Guan Wenbao snorted and sat back in his seat. Sorry, this is my friend. He is a bit hot-tempered. Li Fan cupped his hands and said, but he is really powerful. If he gets angry, I'm afraid that even I can't suppress him. Brother Guan. Is he the descendant of the Guan family? Guan Wenbao. Tang Wei was really knowledgeable. He had seen through Guan Wenbao's identity. Oh, it is him. I didn't expect that he would recognize me. Li Fan touched his chin and looked at Tang Wei. It seems that young Master Tang is knowledgeable. You are really impressive. Tang Wei was annoyed. He was knowledgeable. How could he comment on him? This guy was really lucky to be acquainted with a descendant of the Guan family. One had to know that in the martial arts world, other than strength, the most important thing was a noble identity. A man who had the blood of the Guan family, even if he didn't know any martial arts, he would still be respected and supported by others. Second Master Guan was a famous righteous god in Jianghu. Who didn't know him? Even the shrines of many sects were dedicated to this lord. With Guan Wenbao's identity, no matter which sect he went to, he would be treated as a distinguished guest. But why did he have to come to this remote and desolate place to befriend a young boy? Guan Wenbao and Muronging were really blind. There's also this young Master Tang. Our martial arts are not for showing off. We'll naturally see the results when we get to the arena. How arrogant! Tang Wei mocked and ridiculed. To him, he was born in a good martial arts aristocratic family. Such a noble identity was far inferior to a commoner like Li Fan. Soon, he would let Murong know what a true master was. He had to endure it first. A person like Li Fan would not survive more than 3 moves in the arena. Tang Wei looked at Murong a few more times before he closed his eyes reluctantly and began to rest. The train was still a long way away. Li Fan was also not willing to waste his energy on a person like Tang Wei. He leaned back on the chair and sniffed the pleasant scent on Murong's body. Then, he entered the state of breathing adjustment. This was the skill that Li Fan practiced in the detention center. As long as he was willing, he could enter the state of breathing adjustment anytime and anywhere. It was very difficult for an ordinary person to do this because breathing adjustment required a high degree of concentration. If the environment was noisy, it was basically impossible to achieve. Li Fan just happened to be an exception. Moreover, he was the exception among the exceptions. He easily entered the state of inner vision and looked at his current state. There were already 6 acupoints in his body that had been opened. There were still 3 left. Each one was a challenge to climb to the heavens. But Li Fan knew that the time to open the 7th acupoint was not far. Li Fan's current strength was the strength of 5 dragons. If he wanted to cultivate more strength, it was really a bit difficult. Because if he did not open the 7th acupoint, the amount of true qi that could be stored in his body was limited. Only after opening the 7th acupoint could he store more true qi and cultivate to the strength of 6 dragons or even higher. But the opportunity to break through this strength had not appeared yet. Martial arts training could not be rushed. Since he could not break through for the time being, Li Fan did not force it, lest he went crazy. In today's highly developed technology, although China already had the super-fast high-speed rail, the green leather car was undoubtedly a very slow means of transportation. After driving for a full day and night, the train finally reached their destination. The Golden Eagle Castle was located in a place called Kaoshan Village. There was not even a train station here. The train would stop for a minute in front of a small warehouse. Although there were quite a lot of ordinary people, it was more lively recently. Many people alighted from the train, and all of them were rushing towards the Golden Eagle Castle. Li Fan followed Murong down the train. Looking at the surrounding people, he could not help but feel a bit emotional. There are so many people fighting for a spouse. How could it be, brother-in-law? Murong pointed at the surrounding people. From 80-year-old men to 8-year-old children, there were all kinds of people. These people are here to watch the show. If you want them to fight for a spouse, even the Golden Eagle Castle Lord would have to agree. Maybe they have some special strengths. Li Fan chuckled. Murong said shamelessly, "Is that so? I wonder what brother-in-law's strengths are. As your sister-in-law, I really want to see it." "Stupid girl, don't you know how to blush? I just want to see brother-in-law's strengths." "Why should I blush?" Murong's question made Li Fan unable to answer. "Then, Lei, you guys follow closely. Don't get separated." Li Fan turned his head and said to Huang Lei and the rest. Everyone, we will see you in the arena. Tang Wei also got off the train. Seeing Li Fan, his eyes were filled with anger. We are leaving now. Do you want to find a hotel to stay for a few days? Li Fan chuckled and pretended to be enthusiastic. The Golden Eagle Castle has already prepared a superior room for the young master. Who wants to stay in a hotel with you? Sister Xiao Ai, why don't you come with me? We will stay in the superior room together. The Golden Eagle Castle Lord will treat us like distinguished guests. Forget it. Murong rejected Tang Wei's invitation apologetically. As long as brother-in-law is here, anywhere is the most comfortable place. As for the superior room, I don't care. These words caused Tang Wei's heart to blaze with rage. Fine, fine, fine. Sister Xiao Ai, I will soon make you understand how wrong you are. Thank you for your trouble, young Master Tang. Goodbye. Murong had enough of Tang Wei. This guy was too self-centered. Big brother, Miss Murong, I have already booked a room for us. At this moment, Huang Lei walked up and fawned over him. A 5-star hotel. I've booked the last 2 rooms. 5-star hotel. Li Fan was stunned. How could there be such a luxurious hotel in this place? Chapter 357. Li Fan looked at the magnificent building in front of him. He couldn't imagine how this building has anything to do with a 5-star hotel. This kind of small building seemed to be a product of the previous era, which gave off a feeling of dilapidation. Living in it, I'm afraid it would leak and leak. Is this a 5-star hotel? Li Fan uttered a question, and Murong Ai seemed to have never lived in such a place before, so she groaned. Yes, brother, this is called a 5-star hotel. Li Fan looked at the signboard of this hotel and really wanted to curse. Damn it, how can this be? Is it really okay to call it this way? After all, this is a remote place with no one managing it. The boss is a middle-aged fat man, who is very rude and unreasonable. There are only 2 rooms left, no refund if you don't stay here. He dug his nose with one hand and stuffed a handful of potato chips into his mouth with the other. Li Fan smelled the musty smell in the room and couldn't help but frown. However, there is no other place around. The 5 of them can only stay here temporarily. Then I, Lei, and the other 3 will stay here. Xiao Ai, you stay in your own room. Li Fan decided to stay here first. How can I do that? I have to take care of brother-in-law. Murong Ai said with a serious look, and you have to keep an eye on brother-in-law so that he doesn't eat. In any case, this is a 2-bed room. As long as brother-in-law doesn't climb into my bed at night, everything will be fine. Li Fan was speechless. 4 people are not allowed to stay in a room. My room is small. If I ruin it, you can't afford to pay for it. The fat boss emphasized, don't forget, this is a 5-star hotel. 5-star your sister. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Brother-in-law, you can't just leave me like this. Otherwise, if you sneak out to do bad things in the middle of the night, what if I can't catch you? Li Fan muttered in his heart, the one who sneaks out to do bad things in the middle of the night should be you. Alright, then I'll just have to suffer for a bit. Li Fan's words made Murong want to vomit blood. Brother-in-law was too much. He slept with a peerless beauty like me, and he said he was wronged. Humph. However, she did not dare to lose her temper and could only endure it silently. The bathroom is outside and the hot water is in the hall. Boil it yourself. The fat boss didn't forget to tell Li Fan one more thing. Be gentle at night. Don't damage my bed. Li Fan wanted to slap the fat boss, but a martial artist could not take the initiative to attack a normal person, so he endured it. Murong, on the other hand, was a little happy. She bounced up and down with her hands behind her back, gently swaying her ponytail. Li Fan didn't understand what was going on. He didn't know what this girl was so happy about. Big brother, the Golden Eagle Castle is hosting a banquet tonight. Should we go? Huang Lei took out his phone and opened the app that Bai Lin Luo had asked him to download. Let's go. Why not? Li Fan smiled. This time, I came out to show my face. Since the Master Yin of the Golden Eagle Castle is hosting a banquet, then we should ask for a drink. I won't go. Yan Kai waved his hand. I hate this kind of occasion the most. I originally came here to join in the fun and see how long that Miss Yin has grown. Moreover, this Taoist has a pure heart and few desires. I cultivate my mind and only eat plain food. That kind of lavish banquet is not suitable for this Taoist. Yan Kai said as he tore open a bag of pickled pepper chicken feet. You're so nosy. Guan Wenbao grabbed the eaves above his head and did chin-ups while mocking Yan Kai. Benefactor, this kind of undisciplined person should be fired. Fuck, why do you always target this Taoist? Yan Kai was very unhappy. I know. You mortals must be jealous that I am more handsome than you. Forgive me for not being able to see it. Guan Wenbao was very honest. I think you are very sissy. Don't you find it disgusting? Fuck you. Yan Kai wanted to curse, but he felt that old Guan was not a person who could be reasoned with. He was like a stone in a latrine pit, smelly and hard. I don't have a master. Guan Wenbao's answer made Yan Kai break down. Forget it. A chicken talks with a duck. I'm not a duck. Guan Wenbao looked at Yan Kai curiously. When he did chin-ups, the muscles on his arms were very developed. Are you a chicken? Why do you want to be a chicken? Isn't it good to be a human? What's so fun about being a chicken? Yan Kai's mental defenses were all broken down. Damn it, it was impossible to reason with this guy. Yan Kai sat at the side angrily and crossed his legs, not saying a word. But my benefactor taught me that I should respect other people's hobbies. Guan Wenbao thought for a while, then said, So, since you like it, I'll call you Pheasant Taoist from now on. Li Fan almost laughed out loud, while Huang Lei sat at the side and did not say a word. Instead, he shook his right hand like he was having a stroke. Lei, what are you doing? Big brother, do you still need to ask? Of course, I'll shake it. Huang Lei told him what he knew. This is a barren mountain, but a gathering of martial arts heroes. Maybe a beautiful heroine will fall in love with me. Did you get one? Li Fan and Murong came over and looked at Huang Lei's phone screen. At this time, Huang Lei got a beautiful girl in a white robe with a sword in her arms. She was a typical beauty. But Huang Lei twitched his mouth and ignored her, continuing to shake his phone. Soon, Huang Lei got a fat nun. She looked to be in her 40s. Her butt was so big that it could fill a basin. This is good. Huang Lei licked his lips with great interest, which almost made Li Fan vomit blood. I need to communicate with my feelings. Fine, you can communicate with your feelings. Old Guan, come with me to Golden Eagle Castle tonight. What about me, brother-in-law? Murong stood on her tiptoes and pointed at her own nose. You, just let Yan Kai watch over you and stay in this 5-star hotel obediently. No way. I want to go with brother-in-law. Murong grabbed Li Fan's arm. Anyway, I'm going with brother-in-law. I'll go wherever he goes. So troublesome, Li Fan was helpless. Old Guan, wait for me downstairs at 7:30 p.m. I'll go back and have a rest. My body is stiff after such a long train ride. Okay, benefactor. Have a good rest. Li Fan said goodbye to them and went to a room in the opposite corner of the floor. Because it was the last 2 rooms, they were quite far apart. After Li Fan went in and closed the door, Murong Ai, who had been mischievous and quick-witted a moment ago, immediately stopped smiling and bowed respectfully to Li Fan. Master, please let me serve you. Chapter 358. One set in front of others, another set behind others. This Murong love has taken this point to the extreme. Even Li Fan has to admit that this lass's acting skills are really amazing. Sometimes, even Li Fan himself can't tell which one is the real Murong Love. Murong Love is like a little witch who wears many masks and can change her face at any time. Master, this servant has been rude to you today. Please punish me. Murong Love says as she kneels on the ground and slightly raises her butt. Master, please use more strength. Strength your sister. Sit properly for me. Li Fan scolds. Only then did Murong Love obediently sit back on her bed. The so-called 2 beds were, in fact, 2 military beds. A room that costs 300 a day is very simple and crude. The surrounding walls are mottled and colorful, yellow and white. It is really as dirty as you want it to be. The ground was made of cement, and they didn't even bear to lay a single brick on it. There was a small table between the 2 beds, and a large dictionary was used as a cushion at the foot of the table, showing the weight of human language, history, and culture. Master, are you angry with this servant? Murong Love looks at Li Fan pitifully. You can punish this servant. I have seen a lot of TV, when the master punishes his sex slave, he will be excited. Quickly watch some serious TV series. Li Fan immediately shouts, don't watch Japanese TV series. Oh, okay. This servant will listen to master. Murong Love sits on the opposite bed, raises her legs, and gently places them by her side. Her pair of jade legs are very eye-catching. Master, what kind of clothes do you like this servant to wear? This servant brought a nurse uniform, teacher uniform, and maid uniform. What the hell, why did you bring these out? Li Fan is very confused. Why did she bring these things? Is she here to compete or to have sex? Master, which one do you like? He's here to trick the nurse. No, I don't like any of them. Li Fan slapped his cheeks to wake himself up. Shao AI, don't mess around when you're out. If your sister finds out, she'll stab me to death. Don't worry, master. Sister won't know. Murong promised Li Fan, even if there's an accident and my sister finds out, I'll still protect master with my life. If you want to harm master, you'll have to do it over my dead body. Big sister loves me very much, so she won't hurt master. Murong was full of confidence. Plus, we'll wear condoms every time. That way, there won't be any accidents, and my sister will always be in the dark. Li Fan felt that Murong's love was invincible. Can we talk about something serious? Let's talk about tonight's banquet, okay? Li Fan decided to change the topic and talk about something useful. Sure, whatever master wants to talk about, I'll accompany you. Chatting while wearing clothes or naked is fine. Fuck, this girl actually wants to chat while naked. This is too much. How can you think of such messy things? Li Fan pinched his nose to prevent a nosebleed. He pondered for a moment and chose the previous option. There's no heating here. It's quite cold. Let's chat while wearing clothes. Hee, master, did you forget that we're martial artists? We have true chi to protect our bodies. Murong explained, I'm not afraid of this little cold. Let's just wear clothes. Let's continue to talk about the banquet. Li Fan coughed twice. Murong's love spoke again. Let's talk about the Golden Eagle Castle's lord first. He's an amazing person. Murong rarely said words of admiration. For her to say the word, amazing, it meant that this Golden Eagle Castle's lord was indeed powerful. The Golden Eagle Castle's lord is called In Wuchao. This Golden Eagle Castle used to be a bandit village. Inside was a famous bandit nicknamed Heaven Swallowing Eagle. He was very strong, but he did all kinds of bad things and angered people and gods. Oh, you're not qualified to say that. Master. Don't interrupt me. Although I was forced to learn bad things, my nature is still good. Good your sister. Li Fan rolled his eyes. In short, that heaven-swallowing eagle made the surrounding people suffer. But no one dared to report it because it was a matter of the martial arts world. Even if the police came forward, Heaven-swallowing eagle would find someone to take the blame. And after that, whoever reported it would suffer from the inhumane revenge of Heaven-swallowing eagle. Later on, there was almost no one living in this area. Until one day, Yin Wuchao came. This Yin Wuchao was still very young at that time, but he had already made a name for himself in the martial arts world. Because he wandered the desert in his early years, he was given the nickname Desert Golden Eagle. At that time, Yin Wuchao barged into this place alone and killed Heaven-swallowing eagle. As for the subordinates of Heaven-swallowing eagle, because they didn't have any other abilities, their temperaments weren't too good. In order to control them, Yin Wuchao built this Golden Eagle castle and left those people behind. He recultivated and trained them, turning the Golden Eagle castle into the #1 relay station in the martial arts world. It sounds like he's indeed an extraordinary person. Li Fan felt a little admiration in his heart. The person he admired the most in his life was this kind of hero. This Yin Wuchao is famous in the martial arts world. Murong had not finished speaking. He has a forthright nature and made friends with all the heroes in the world. However, this castle master Yin's biggest weakness is his daughter, who gives him a headache. Murong paused for a moment and continued, it is said that his daughter has no interest in inheriting the Golden Eagle castle. She runs around outside all day, giving Castle Master Yin quite a headache. Therefore, he decided to have a martial arts competition to let his daughter settle down. What does this young miss of the Golden Eagle castle look like? Li Fan couldn't help but be curious, is she beautiful? Master, are you tempted? Murong asked. Li Fan hurriedly explained, of course not, I'm just curious about her appearance. You see, so many heroes are gathered here. If this young miss doesn't look good, then there definitely wouldn't be so many people. I heard that she's an outstanding beauty. Murong winked at Li Fan, if Master likes, I can charm her and send her to Master's bed. You'd better behave yourself. Li Fan's forehead was covered in cold sweat. This girl really wished for the world to be in chaos. Do you still want to go to tonight's banquet? This servant. Of course I want to. Murong hurriedly said, this servant doesn't want to leave Master for even a minute. Unless Master dislikes this servant. It's not that I dislike you. But you must make 3 rules with me. Chapter 359. At night, the moon hung high above the willow tree. Although it was winter and all the leaves had fallen, the people present were all martial artists. They had protective chi and were not afraid of the cold. Moreover, most of them were dressed in comfortable martial attire at Golden Eagle Castle, displaying the demeanor of a martial artist. Li Fan walked into Golden Eagle Castle. It was bustling with activity today. There were warriors dressed in traditional attire everywhere. Li Fan looked left and right. They were all unfamiliar faces. The only familiar one was Tang Wei. Tonight, Tang Wei was also wearing the black and white martial attire of the 8 Trigram School. The 8 Trigram School's logo was printed on it. This guy seemed to be showing off tonight. Many people surrounded him to chat. After all, he was the young master of the 8 Trigram School. The other person who was surrounded was Guan Wenbao. As a descendant of the Guan family, he was naturally the center of attention. But Guan Wenbao was like an iron tower. He stood there, and whoever spoke to him would reply with 3 words, ah, oh. Even so, there were still many martial artists surrounding him to chat. They seemed to want to get close to this descendant of a famous family. Some of the famous families even took out their daughters' photos for Guan Wenbao to see. But Guan Wenbao was not interested in women. He was only interested in practicing martial arts. Beside Li Fan was Murong Ai. Most of the martial artists were not familiar with him, so no one joined in the fun. Only Murong Ai followed him silently with a mask on her face. This was one of the 3 rules that Li Fan had set. The first rule was that she had to wear a mask. The second rule was that she was not allowed to say a word. The third rule was that she was not allowed to leave Li Fan's sight. Only by abiding by these 3 rules could Li Fan be at ease to bring this girl here. Otherwise, if she tried anything funny, Li Fan would have a headache. "Hey, isn't this Li Fan? You really dared to come." Tang Wei seemed to have noticed Li Fan. He parted the crowd and walked over. "You shouldn't be here." "Oh, why?" Li Fan stood there with his hands clasped behind his back, his face expressionless. "That's because this is a gathering place for Jianghu celebrities. Those who appear here are all descendants of famous families. Look, Wudang, 8 Extremities Fist, Hengchuan, Huashan, and the various great clans. These are all famous orthodox sections. As for you, you're just a commoner. How are you going to survive here? This is interesting." Li Fan didn't get angry. He just said indifferently, "Castle Lord Yin invited the heroes of the world, not the famous sects of the world." Could it be that in young Master Tang's eyes, there are no heroes other than the world's famous sects? "I didn't say that." Tang Wei felt slightly guilty. After all, the fort master of the Golden Eagle Fort, Yin Wuchao, was a commoner. Little sister Xiao Ai. Tang Wei's gaze finally landed on Murong Ai. In the past, Tang Wei, who could only bear to look at Murong Ai, was actually staring at Li Fan. This was quite strange. It seemed like Tang Wei was still concerned about Li Fan. He was probably thinking of how to embarrass Li Fan. "Li Fan. This is little overlord Li Fan." When the surrounding people heard someone say Li Fan's name, they immediately crowded over and stared at Li Fan. "He's the one who caught the eye of Alliance Master Murong? Pretty boy, right? It's good to follow Alliance Master Murong. He doesn't have any abilities, yet he can get a title. And he's even called Little Overlord. He really doesn't live up to his name." Everyone didn't have any concept of Li Fan. They all felt that he was a nameless person. Especially since Li Fan didn't look special and looked very ordinary, it was impossible to arouse their interest. "Hee, everyone, don't look down on this little overlord. His martial arts are not bad." Tang Wei said sarcastically, "He even wants to participate in this year's groom search competition in order to suppress all the experts here. Hee, ridiculous." At this moment, a mocking voice came from afar. "I, Yen, have seen countless people in my life. I know that the Jianghu is full of people who fish for fame. Today, I want to see who has such a big tone and wants to suppress all the experts here." A familiar figure, wearing a black robe, walked out from the crowd. "So it's the Tang sect's outstanding disciple. It's an honor to meet you." Tang Wei cupped his hands. Yen Xiao walked through the crowd and continued to say arrogantly, "Today, I will teach him what the Jianghu is." When his eyes fell on Li Fan, his legs immediately went soft and he almost knelt on the ground. "Yo, isn't this young hero Yen? It's been a long time." Li Fan smiled at Yen Xiao. "How is it? Have you made some progress in your martial arts recently? Do you want to have a competition?" "I ate something wrong tonight. My stomach is not feeling well." Yen Xiao coughed twice. "You should be glad that you got your life back." "Then I really have to thank you." Li Fan smiled and cupped his hands. Being lenient is really touching. "Tang, brother Tang. I still have something to do. You deal with it first." Tang Wei was a bit dazed. This Yen Xiao has always been very arrogant. What's wrong with him today? Did the sun rise from the west? "I hope young hero Yen can take care of your body." "Take care." Li Fan didn't point it out. Instead, he continued to look at Tang Wei. "Tang Xiaoxia, the Jianghu's matters should be settled in the Jianghu. Why don't we settle the enmity between the two of us in the arena? Do we still need to do it in the arena?" Tang Wei was very confident about his condition today. There's no time like the present. "How about we have a competition now?" Everyone's interest was piqued. Almost everyone was optimistic about Tang Wei. After all, he was the young master of the 8 trigrams school. This Li Fan was really unlucky to meet him. I don't think that's a good idea. Li Fan rejected this competition, this is someone else's territory after all. How can you and I be so presumptuous here? Although Li Fan didn't like to follow the rules, it didn't mean that he didn't know how to be polite. Li Fan, I think you're afraid. Tang Wei was secretly delighted. He knew that this person was only good at talking. When it came to a real fight, he would be terrified. Murong lightly frowned, seemingly very dissatisfied with Tang Wei's words. However, Li Fan lightly pressed her shoulder with one hand, indicating for her not to make a sound. Take it that I'm afraid. Can you get out of the way now? Li Fan was still polite, but Tang Wei didn't want to let him off just like that. Sorry, my hands are very itchy today. You can't escape. As he spoke, Tang Wei suddenly stepped forward and used the 8 trigrams perplexing footwork. His body seemed to leave an afterimage as he instantly appeared in front of Li Fan. At the same time, his right hand was like a knife, stabbing fiercely at Li Fan's waist. 8 trigrams like knife. This was the essence of 8 trigrams palm. However, Li Fan didn't move. Tang Wei thought that Li Fan hadn't reacted. Chapter 360. A smile rose on Tang Wei's lips. This idiot knows that he doesn't have any strength. He can't even react to my attack. This fellow is too weak. Tang Wei is excited. His palm is about to pierce through Li Fan's waist, and there's only a few centimeters left. But at this moment, a hand grabbed onto his wrist and stopped his attack. Tang Wei is shocked. Who is it that can stop my attack? He raises his head and sees an awe-inspiring middle-aged man standing in front of him. This middle-aged man has a square face, thick brows, big eyes, and a beard. His beard and sideburns are slightly white, as if it's because he worries too much. But the heroic spirit between his brows is unstoppable, and time can't take it away. Fort Lord Yin, seeing this man, the arrogance on Tang Wei's face disappeared. Young Master Tang, your skills are indeed not bad. Yin Wuchao chuckled. However, this is my territory for now, so can you give me some face? I'm sorry, Fort Lord Yin, Tang Wei is not an idiot. He knows who he should be strong and who he should give in to. This one was rude. I hope that Fort Lord can forgive me. Ha, we're all youngsters. It's hard to avoid being a little impulsive. Yin Wuchao released Tang Wei's hand, but keep your temper and fight on the stage tomorrow. Take the championship and marry my daughter. That's a true hero. What does young Master Tang think? Fort Lord is right. Tang Wei took 2 steps back and cupped his hands towards Yin Wuchao before glaring fiercely at Li Fan. Fort Lord Yin saved you today. But if you're smart, then don't go on the stage. Otherwise, it'll be your death day. Interesting. Li Fan smiled, then I want to try and see how dangerous tomorrow's stage will be. You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Then wait and see tomorrow. Tang Wei sneered, I hope that you can live to see me. With that, he cupped his hands towards Yin Wuchao and left. Young hero Li, I'm really sorry to have let you encounter such an unpleasant thing in this old man's place. After Tang Wei left, Yin Wuchao apologized to Li Fan. Castle Lord Yin is too polite. Actually, I'm here to cause trouble. I should be the one apologizing. Ha ha ha, how can you say that I'm wrecking the place? Yin Wuchao laughed. We're all hot-blooded youths. It's only interesting to have women to flirt with and fight with. If this old man was 20 years younger, I would definitely join in on such an occasion. What a pity, even my beard has turned white. Yin Wuchao's words immediately left a good impression on Li Fan. No wonder this old fellow was so popular and could make friends with all the heroes in the world. His words warmed the hearts of others, and he didn't have any temper at all. Moreover, he instantly narrowed the distance between the two of them. Young hero Li's martial arts should have been taught by that child, Murong. Yin Wuchao had a warm smile on his face as he gently patted Li Fan's shoulder. This old man also owes that lass, Murong, a favor. Since you're here, just treat it as your own home. Does Muronging know this Castle Lord Yin? Right, Castle Lord Yin can be considered a famous person, so he should have been challenged by my fiancé. Right, has young hero Li found a place to stay? Yin Wuchao asked. If you don't mind, this old man has 3 or 4 guest rooms here. Although they are a little crude, it's enough for young hero Li to stay. Thank you, Castle Lord. It's a pity that I have already found a place to stay. I've already paid, so it's a pity not to stay. That's indeed a pity. Otherwise, I would have liked to spar with young hero Li at night. This sentence caused Li Fan's forehead to be covered in cold sweat. This old fellow is a little disrespectful. He actually wants to spar with me. What level is he at? However, Li Fan is really itching to spar. He licks his lips, then it shouldn't be a problem to stay for a while. Ha ha ha, young hero Li is indeed a person who loves martial arts. Good, good, good. Yin Wuchao claps his hands, then it's settled. Xiao Wu, come here for a moment. Yes, master. A maid walks up and Yin Wuchao orders, after the banquet is over, bring young hero Li to his room. Take advantage of this time to find someone to tidy up the room. Yes, master. The maid goes to do it, while Yin Wuchao pats Li Fan's shoulder. Young hero Li, this old man still has a few guests to entertain. I'll take my leave first. Let's see each other tonight. Okay, you go do your thing. After Li Fan says goodbye to Yin Wuchao, a lot of people immediately surround Yin Wuchao and chat about all sorts of things, making this middle-aged man look like a celebrity. Perhaps, in the martial arts world, this man is indeed like a celebrity. At least that's what Li Fan thinks. This banquet is basically a meet and greet session. Yin Wuchao goes up on stage and says a few words to everyone, followed by table after table of banquets. Li Fan is only here to watch the liveliness. To him, this kind of occasion is actually quite boring. The people present seem to look down on Li Fan. After such a long time, no one comes up to speak to Li Fan. Even more people surround Guan Wenbao and chat non-stop. The sky is already dark. Guan Wenbao looks at the moonlight outside, then separates the crowd and walks towards Li Fan. The people surrounding Guan Wenbao are a bit baffled. Why is young hero Guan looking for a pretty boy? Benefactor, the sky is already dark. Are we going back to the 5-star hotel? Benefactor. 5-star hotel. TSK, it should be because Muronging is indebted to young hero Guan, so he calls Li Fan benefactor. Young hero Guan is really chivalrous and courageous. The 5-star hotel should also be paid by Murong's family. As the leader of the martial arts world, Muronging is really blind. Why did she find such a pretty boy? How am I inferior to him? Almost every man had the same thought in their hearts. Tang Wei takes a sip of wine, looks at Li Fan, and laughs disdainfully. Tomorrow, he will cry. Old Guan, I still have something to do, so I may stay here tonight. You go back to the hotel and take care of Yan Kai and Huang Lei. Don't let them cause any trouble. Okay, benefactor, I will definitely take care of them. Guan Wenbao feels that he has a great responsibility, and Li Fan also feels that his work is a bit hard. It is really a bit difficult to take care of those 2 clowns. Then, benefactor, I will take my leave now. Guan Wenbao cupped his hands at Li Fan again, then turns around and leaves Golden Eagle Castle. Everyone looked at Li Fan with envy in their eyes. Li Fan not only married Muronging, but also made friends with a descendant of the Guan family. Is he really that lucky? Chapter 361. Li Fan went to the Golden Eagle Castle, and all he got were envious and jealous looks. Almost everyone's impression of him was one word, pretty boy. Li Fan, the little overlord. When Li Fan was about to leave, he was suddenly stopped by a tall and handsome young man in white. "What can I do for you?" Li Fan asked. "Remember my name. I'm LV Ishan." The young disciple, who had the wudang embroidery on his chest, stretched out a finger and pointed at Li Fan. "I heard that Yen Kai is now with you. Go back and tell him that both of you will be defeated by me." "Okay, I'll pass the message on for you." Li Fan's attitude was very good. He was not angry, nor did he get angry. Instead, he cupped his hands at the young man. "You guys, are you done yet? Are you trying to take advantage of me?" Murong Ai could not stand it anymore. The little girl stepped forward and scolded, "You guys, my brother-in-law didn't say anything, are you guys done?" "Xiao Ai, you're too rude." Li Fan pulled Murong Ai back. At this time, the wudang disciple LV Shan frowned. "Murong Ying's sister. It seems that you lack discipline. Let me teach you manners on her behalf." As he spoke, LV Shan directly slapped Murong Ai with a Tai Chi palm. Murong Ai immediately hugged her head and let out a scream. Li Fan stood in front of her and met LV Shan's palm. Bang! LV Shan's body took a step back, and his eyes became deep. "Not bad. You do have some strength." LV Shan looked at Li Fan and said lightly, "But it's just some mediocre martial arts. It can't be compared to my powerful wudang disciple. Then I look forward to meeting you in the arena tomorrow, brother." Li Fan did not say much. He really could not communicate with such a self-centered person. "Ha, you should look forward to not meeting me." As LV Shan spoke, he turned and walked outside. Lunatic. Murong returned to her previous self. She glared at him fiercely and then pulled Li Fan. "Master, why don't you teach this arrogant guy a lesson? Youths are full of spirit. They all think that they're the strongest. There's nothing to be angry about." Li Fan put his hands in his pockets and said casually, "The path of martial arts is endless. Xiao Ai, you also have to walk the right path. Don't think about those evil and crooked paths. It's not good for practicing martial arts." "Master, don't you have a competitive spirit?" "Yes, of course I have. After all, I'm only in my second year of high school. I'll be in my third year soon." Li Fan sometimes almost forgot that he was still a student. Although he was still very childish at times, after he entered the peak of strength, his horizons had been broadened a lot, and his thinking had also become more mature. "But as for me, if people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people offend me, I'll kill them." "I admire Master's decisive look," Murong said sweetly. Li Fan patted her forehead. "This is someone else's territory. Restrain yourself a bit." "I can't restrain myself. Brother-in-law, you have to understand me." Murong's cute look made Li Fan unable to bear to say it. The maid called Xiaowu also walked over and gently bowed to Li Fan. "Young hero Li, this way please." "Okay, I'll have to trouble you." Spending the night in the Golden Eagle Castle, this place was somewhat leisurely. The current Golden Eagle Castle was built on the foundation of the previous bandit stronghold, as if to suppress the bandit aura here. The entrance of the Golden Eagle Castle was a large stronghold with many buildings scattered inside. It could be considered as a small business circle. Yin Wuchao's mansion was at the foot of a small mountain. Passing through his mansion, they walked to the back and came to the entrance of the small mountain. They found that there were also a few houses on the small mountain. It was the 16th of the lunar calendar. A white jade plate was hanging in the sky, reflecting the entire mansion, making this place even more antique. "Brother-in-law, this place is so beautiful." Because there was no one else around, Murong took off her mask and breathed in the clean air. "It would be great if I could live in such a place with brother-in-law in the future. Your Murong's mansion is not bad. Your old man will definitely be sad if you say so." Li Fan laughed and thought of Murong Bo, that perverted gynophilia. Although the family mansion is big, it's very cold. Murong's answer was heart-wrenching. Since I was young, my father and sister were not by my side. Those servants at home are only there to earn money and have no feelings for me. Don't say that, your father still loves you very much. Li Fan comforted him. Heh. Not knowing why, when Murong talked about her father, she sneered. Li Fan didn't ask further. Sometimes, it's not necessarily a good thing to like to get to the bottom of things. What's more, there was an unfamiliar maid next to them. The maid was very sensible and didn't meddle with Li Fan's business. Instead, she led the way in front. Soon, she brought Li Fan and the others to a small courtyard on the mountain. Esteemed guests, you can stay here for the night. I'll be in the small house outside the courtyard. If there's anything, just ring the bell to call me. Okay, thank you for your trouble. Li Fan cupped his hands towards the maid and then led Murong into the courtyard. The buildings inside were also red walls and green tiles, and the vermilion beams and painted buildings, which made people happy. Hee, brother-in-law, why don't we stay here for a long time? After entering the house, Murong went to the balcony, opened the balcony door, sat on the railing, and said to Li Fan with a grin, I think that Yin Wuchao quite appreciates you. Maybe he'll be willing to let you stay. No matter how good this place is, it's still someone else's home. Li Fan confidently said, don't worry, one day, I'll buy a mansion. Then brother-in-law, at that time, you must let me live here. Don't talk nonsense. You can't depend on me and your sister for a lifetime. Li Fan reminded Murong, sooner or later, you'll have to marry someone. I'm not going to marry. Murong quickly shook her head, I'll stay by brother-in-law's side and serve sister and brother-in-law for a lifetime, okay? This little girl seemed to be very sincere when she said those words. But Li Fan wouldn't be fooled. He smiled, you'll grow up sooner or later. Brother-in-law, you're looking down on me. I'm not young anymore. Look down. Huh? Murong Ai looked down and asked, what are you looking at? You see, you don't even have a chest, how can you prove that you've grown up? Li Fan said solemnly. Hee. Unexpectedly, Murong was not angry. Instead, she walked in front of Li Fan and grabbed his right hand, then, brother-in-law, help me rub them, I'll grow up. La. Chapter 362. Looking at Murong Ai's serious expression, Li Fan's inner defenses were slightly attacked. Especially when Murong Ai licked her lips. Needless to say, that temptation was unspeakable. This girl is really too much. Just as he was about to teach her a lesson, a familiar shout suddenly came from outside. Young hero Li, are you there? This old man has come to disturb you. Stay in the room obediently. I will go out and spar with Castle Master Yin. Li Fan was a martial arts fanatic. Hearing that he could spar with Castle Master Yin, he could not hold it in any longer and directly walked out. Okay, master. I will wait for you with the bath water. Murong Ai licked her lips again. Li Fan could not be bothered with her. This girl, playing this game with me. Sooner or later, I will take care of her. Li Fan walked out of the room. The moonlight outside was beautiful, and Yin Wuchao was standing in the small courtyard with one hand touching the long saber hanging on his waist. Li Fan's gaze fell on the saber hanging on his waist. This was definitely a treasure saber. The edge of the saber was inlaid with a scarlet red gem and the guard was embroidered with a lamb skin. And the saber sheath was made of black patterned crocodile skin. It was impervious to water and fire. It was also not an ordinary item. Young hero Li, do you like this old man's saber? Yin Wuchao was somewhat proud, this saber was forged by a famous craftsman. It has accompanied me for dozens of years. It can be said to be my old partner. As he spoke, he slightly pulled out the saber. The saber's blade was shining brightly, reflecting the moonlight. This saber was like a second moon. What martial arts did young hero Li learn? Murong sword art? Yin Wuchao asked curiously, I wonder what level young hero Li's martial god technique is at. I am really sorry. I did not practice the martial god technique, nor did I learn sword arts. Li Fan said, although I learned from Muronging for a while, I am currently using a self-created fist technique. He made a starting stance, it is called the Seven Heroes Fist. Please enlighten me, Castle Master Yin. Oh. He actually created his own fist technique at such a young age? Yin Wuchao smiled, but he didn't take it to heart. Looking at his eyes, there was a faint hint of disappointment. Li Fan knew that he wanted to spar with Murong's family's swordplay. Murong Ying's martial god technique was unrivaled under the heavens. However, Li Fan did not care because he believed in his fist technique. Since that's the case, this old man will accompany young hero Li for a few moves. Yin Wuchao even put down his saber and raised his other hand. When this old man was roaming Jianghu in my early years, besides this bright moon saber, I also learned the steel opening hand. Why don't I exchange a few moves with young hero Li? 3 moves. Li Fan stretched out 3 fingers. Within 3 moves, make Castle Master Yin draw her blade. Ha ha ha, young people are really ambitious. Yin Wuchao couldn't help but laugh, good, good, good. Thank you for letting me win. He crooked his finger at Li Fan. The meaning of letting him win was very obvious. Li Fan slightly lowered his body and instantly entered the state of Tiger Strike. Black. Tiger. Emperor. The change in Li Fan's aura caused Yin Wuchao to be shocked. This youth just now seemed to have merged with his surroundings and was inconspicuous. In an instant, he seemed to have changed into a different person. It was as if a powerful king was standing in front of him. After roaming Jianghu for so many years, Yin Wuchao couldn't help but be shocked at this moment. What a good kid. What kind of technique is this? It can even change one's aura. Li Fan's body continued to shrink until it seemed like he could stick to the ground. Without waiting for Yin Wuchao to react, he suddenly pounced like a black tiger pouncing on its prey. In an instant, he pounced in front of Yin Wuchao. Li Fan raised his claw and clawed at Yin Wuchao's cheek. It looked like an ordinary claw, but it contained an unstoppable aura that restricted Yin Wuchao's movements. Yin Wuchao raised his scabbard and blocked Li Fan's claw. The scabbard made a clanging sound and Yin Wuchao was forced to take a step back from the impact. As for Li Fan, he wasn't affected at all. He continued to wave his claw and this time, he directly stabbed at Yin Wuchao's chest. Yin Wuchao believed that if he wasn't careful, his heart would be dug out. Yin Wuchao didn't dare to hesitate anymore. He pulled out his left hand and the shining blade immediately popped out and slashed at Li Fan's neck. As an expert, this was practically a subconscious reaction. Yin Wuchao originally didn't want to use a killing move, but he was forced to do so. Once his blade was unsheathed, he couldn't return without seeing blood. However, Li Fan stretched out his left hand and used his 5 fingers to pinch the blade. Yin Wuchao was shocked. He clearly didn't expect his blade to be pinched by this youth. Unbelievable. Yin Wuchao couldn't help but let out a sigh when he tried to pull out his blade. It hasn't even been 3 moves. Li Fan stretched out 2 fingers, Castle Lord Yin, you've pulled out your blade. Good kid, you have some ability. Yin Wuchao's eyes lit up, I've underestimated you. Is this your self-created technique? I've let Castle Lord Yin see a joke. A smile hung on Li Fan's lips. To be able to shock Castle Lord Yin, it proved that his training wasn't in vain. But this is just a warm-up. Castle Lord Yin, don't say that I'm bullying you because I'm young and strong. As Li Fan spoke, he lowered his body again and used a black tiger mountain climbing fist towards Yin Wuchao's chest. Yin Wuchao saw the power of this move. Without any hesitation, he immediately used a movement technique and slid 3 steps back in an attempt to widen the distance between him and Li Fan. However, Li Fan was like a ferocious tiger chasing its prey. He stuck close to Yin Wuchao and used both his hands to tear at Yin Wuchao. Yin Wuchao waved his bright moon blade. The sharp blade collided with Li Fan's fingers. However, Li Fan's fingers were like steel as they continuously deflected Yin Wuchao's blade. What a powerful internal energy! Yin Wuchao could see that Li Fan had used internal energy to wrap his fingers, making them as hard as steel. His blade was a weapon, but this kid's fist technique had been trained to the bone. His entire body was a weapon. This fist technique seemed to be the tiger fist of the five-element fist. The ferocious tiger within was vivid and lifelike. However, this king-like aura was something the tiger fist did not have. This fist technique was indeed not bad. Very good, but there's a flaw. As Yin Wuchao spoke, he suddenly attacked Li Fan's lower body. Cut your lower body. Good. Li Fan suddenly stretched out his hands and grabbed Yin Wuchao's wrist that was holding the blade. I'm sorry, Castle Lord Yin. I've disappointed you. In an instant, Li Fan entered the lightning deer's form. Sensing that Li Fan's aura had changed again, Yin Wuchao couldn't help but be shocked. While Li Fan locked Yin Wuchao's wrist, he raised his leg and kicked Yin Wuchao's face. Chapter 363. Yin Wuchao took 2 steps back from the kick, but he quickly steadied himself. Castle Lord Yin, how is it? Are you willing to spar with me seriously? This old man is very surprised. Yin Wuchao wiped his chin with his hand, and there was still smoke coming out of it. Every qualified martial artist not only needs a strong and sturdy physique, but they also need enough qi to protect their body. Although Li Fan's kick was very heavy, Yin Wuchao was still able to block it with his qi. To have such attainments at such a young age, it's truly amazing. Yin Wuchao praised. However, this old man did not use my full strength. I only exchanged a few moves with young hero. Although young hero's martial arts are not bad, the martial god technique is still better. What a pity, what a pity. I originally thought that I would be able to experience Murong Ying's Murong sword technique today. It's truly a pity. Yin Wuchao's disappointed expression made Li Fan slightly unhappy. This old man is still looking down on my 7-hero fist. However, Li Fan did not want to use his full strength because tomorrow is the martial arts competition for a spouse, so he had to hold back. Castle Lord Yin, you are also a martial arts fanatic. If this is the case, I'm afraid that our martial arts competition tonight will be boring. Ha, this old man came here tonight to experience Murong's sword technique. Apart from that, there is something else that I would like to ask young hero for. Castle Lord, please speak freely. Li Fan was curious in his heart. Why did Castle Master Yin keep him here? Since it's not for the martial arts competition, why did he have to receive him so warmly? Young hero Li, as you said, this old man is indeed a martial arts fanatic, to the point of being obsessed. This old man's martial arts are not bad, and I've reached the peak, but I've reached a bottleneck. As long as I break through this bottleneck, this old man will be able to enter the realm of a generation's grandmaster. However, I currently lack such an opportunity, so this old man would like to ask young hero to be the middleman. I would like to invite your fiancé, the current Martial Worlds Alliance leader, Murong Ying, to fight with this old man. What do you think? So this was the reason why he kept him alive? Although looking down on him made Li Fan a little unhappy, he couldn't get angry. You want to fight her? I can help you. Then I really have to thank you, young hero. Don't thank me so quickly. Li Fan laughed. I have a condition. What are your conditions? Young hero, feel free to state them. You have to defeat me first before you can see her. Yin Wuchao was in a bit of a predicament. He prided himself on being a hero, yet he had to fight a young man. This didn't fit his principles. If you can't defeat me, I won't be able to help you arrange a battle. Li Fan crossed his arms and looked at Yin Wuchao. At this moment, Yin Wuchao felt that the young man before him didn't seem like a junior, but an expert on the same level as him. This young man really gave people the wrong impression. How about this? Yin Wuchao thought of a compromise. Tomorrow is the martial competition for a spouse. If we fight today, it will be disadvantageous for tomorrow's battle. Why don't you wait for young hero to finish tomorrow's martial arts competition before you fight with me? Actually, I have a question that I have always wanted to ask Castle Lord Yin. Li Fan had a question in his heart, but it would be more comfortable if he asked it. Feel free to ask. I am already a man with a wife. Why isn't Castle Lord Yin angry when I participate in the martial competition for a spouse? Ha ha ha, young people like to compete. This old man has also been around this age, so I can understand. Yin Wuchao laughed boldly. Furthermore, it's hard to say who will win or lose in a martial competition. Whether young hero Li can win or not is still unknown. Why worry about nothing? Li Fan already understood the deeper meaning behind his words. This old man was thinking that it was impossible for him to reach the last round of the martial competition for a spouse. In short, I'll leave this matter to young hero Li. Yin Wuchao looked at the moon. It's getting late. Rest early and prepare for tomorrow. All right. Just as Li Fan agreed, Yin Wuchao suddenly turned his head and looked at the towering ancient tree beside him. Who is it? He threw a stone into the tree, causing the leaves to sway twice. Maybe this old man is overthinking. Yin Wuchao lightly tapped the hilt of his saber and said to Li Fan, I'm sorry to have let young hero Li laugh at me. Once a person gets older, it's hard to avoid being paranoid. It's fine, it's fine. Castle Lord Yin, rest early. Li Fan cupped his hands, see you tomorrow. Alright, alright. See you tomorrow. Yin Wuchao placed his hands behind his back and strode out of the courtyard. Not long after he left, Li Fan looked at the direction of the tree and said slowly, he has already gone far away. He's already gone far away. Come down. A figure jumped out from the leaves, somersaulted in the air, and lightly landed in front of Li Fan. This person was wearing night clothes, her figure was seductive and sexy, and her face was covered with a black mask. Miss Flying Cat, did you miss me too much? That's why I couldn't wait to meet you so late at night. Li Fan asked with a smile, even at the risk of being discovered. Even my uncle didn't discover me, how did you discover me? Yin Xiaoru took off her mask, revealing her beautiful face. Stop joking. Your uncle discovered you, but he was too lazy to expose you. Li Fan curled his lips, otherwise, he wouldn't have thrown the stone at you. I know him quite well. If this person discovered me, he would definitely investigate. Yin Xiaoru snorted, you better be careful of him. This person is not as simple as you think. Hey, hey, hey. No matter what, he's still your relative, right? I'm too lazy to say anymore. You accepted the task I gave you, right? Yin Xiaoru asked Li Fan. As long as you have money, anything can be done. Li Fan said and spread out his right hand, where's the jade pendant? You damn money grubber. Yin Xiaoru was so angry that she could choke. She reached out and took out a suet jade pendant from behind her. Here you go. Don't worry, it's the real deal. Li Fan took this warm jade pendant. It's said that people can raise jade, and jade can raise people, but it's only limited to good jade. Such a good jade, I'm not even willing to sell it. Li Fan's eyes sparkled like stars. Yin Xiaoru pouted and looked at him, seemingly very dissatisfied. Oh right, where's the employer? Li Fan looked left and right, I don't seem to sense anyone else's aura. My sister, it's definitely hard for her to appear at this time. Yin Xiaoru explained, it's impossible to meet her, but I can be her spokesperson and help her convey the task to you. Chapter 364. What the hell is a spokesperson? Li Fan had a headache, if I don't see the employer, I can't do anything. Why do you have to see the employer? Can't you listen to the mission first? Yin Xiaoru rolled her eyes at Li Fan, you've already taken the jade pendant, don't tell me you want to renege? Of course not. Since I've taken the money, I'll help them get rid of the disaster. Li Fan patted his chest and promised Yin Xiaoru. Good, this mission is very simple. Taking the first place is easy. No, it's too difficult for you to take the first place. Yin Xiaoru seemed to be thinking, so, I've decided to change the method, which is suitable for you as an escort. What method? Anyway, it was the employer's idea. As long as the money was paid, Li Fan would be responsible for doing it. Take Yin Wuchao's daughter. Away from here. Yin Xiaoru's words almost scared Li Fan. Fuck, you're not kidding me, right? Yin Xiaoru looked at Li Fan very seriously, her eyes were very firm. No, if it's here, my sister will definitely be married off. She pulled Li Fan's sleeve. Li Fan, if you're afraid, you don't have to take this mission. Nonsense, why would I be afraid? Li Fan decisively fell for Yin Xiaoru's provocation. Yin Xiaoru was very pleased, she knew that this guy was unmoved by force or persuasion, he was greedy and arrogant. As long as she saw his weakness, she would hit it. Then can you let me see the employer? Li Fan asked, if I don't know what she looks like, how can I take her away? Then. Okay. Yin Xiaoru had no choice but to say, but my sister doesn't like to be approached by men. You can talk to her from afar. Okay. Li Fan nodded. He followed Yin Xiaoru all the way to a higher place in the back mountain. He really didn't expect that the daughter of the Golden Eagle Castle would actually live on a dangerous peak. Everyone said that this young miss had an eccentric temperament, and it seemed that it was indeed the case. Yin Xiaoru brought Li Fan to a stop in front of the gate of the house, making him stop. Wait here for a moment. Yin Xiaoru instructed, I just said that big sister doesn't like to be approached. I'll explain it to my sister. Please wait here for a moment. Okay, hurry up. Li Fan stood outside the courtyard and watched Yin Xiaoru's figure disappear into the courtyard. It was clearly a relative's house, but she still acted like a thief. This girl really had it hard. This little girl's nickname was Flying Cat, and she really displayed the characteristics of a cat to an extraordinary degree. Soon, a small window on the second floor of the courtyard was pushed open, and a pretty woman stood inside. She bowed slightly to Li Fan. Young hero Li. I'll leave it to you, Miss Yin, why don't you come with me tonight? Previously, Yin Xiaoru had told Li Fan that her sister could only leave after the joust for marriage tomorrow. Tonight, the periphery of the Golden Eagle Castle is surrounded by guards. It's so tight that not even a fly can escape. Miss Yin explained to Li Fan, he already predicted that I would escape today, so we have no chance to leave. The joust for marriage is the only chance. I understand. Li Fan nodded, Miss Yin's consideration is correct. It was me who was rude. Then let's part ways tonight. According to the agreement, tomorrow, I will take you away from the Golden Eagle Castle. Even if you want to be the enemy of the Golden Eagle Castle, is it okay? It's okay. Li Fan said, I am in charge of Fifan Express Delivery and Fifan Escort Agency. As long as it's a customer, it's like a god to me. For the customer, even if we have to be the enemy of the world, we will not hesitate. This is the principle of our escort agency. Then I'll have to trouble young hero Li. See you tomorrow. With that, she closed the window, and Yin Xiaoru did not appear again. Li Fan did not wait for long. He turned around and left the young lady's courtyard and returned to his room. Murong Ai stayed in the room. Her body was fragrant and wrapped in a bathrobe. It was obvious that she had just taken a bath. Master, you're back. When Murong Ai saw Li Fan enter the door, she immediately knelt down, let this servant serve you in the bath? No need, I can bathe myself. After tossing and turning for a day, his body was indeed sweaty. However, it was unnecessary to ask Murong Ai to serve him. She might make a mistake in her principles. Li Fan sent Murong Ai away and walked into the bathroom. The bathroom was still the old-fashioned kind. There was a big landscape screen inside. Behind it was a beautiful wooden bucket filled with hot water and sprinkled with cherry blossom petals. It should be because Murong AI helped him fill the water. This girl is sometimes quite considerate. This sweaty body, soaking in hot water, is really comfortable. Let the hot water wash away the fatigue on my body. Li Fan leaned on the wooden bucket and let himself stretch his body to his heart's content. Tomorrow is the joust for espouse, and it is also the time for him to show his face. If he did not perform well, he would be letting down the audience that is looking forward to him. The hot water was really comfortable, especially the rising steam. It made Li Fan feel that all the pores on his body naturally opened up. He even wanted to doze off, wanting to sleep just like this. But at this time, a pair of warm and soft little hands lightly pressed against his back. Xiao, AI. This is not a place you should be in. Li Fan woke up with a start and scolded. This servant will scrub master's back. Sure enough, it was Murong AI's voice. She held the towel with both hands and pressed it against Li Fan's back. No matter how good master's kung fu is, you can't scrub your own back. Don't worry, my arms are very long. Master is not a gibbon. Hee, just leave it to me. Without any explanation, Murong AI has already started to scrub Li Fan's back. I have to say, this Murong AI's technique is really not bad. Her strength is not light nor heavy, and it is quite comfortable. But using this kind of rich young lady as a maid is really too extravagant. I'll let her scrub my back. Tomorrow, I'll seriously teach her a lesson. Master, is this servant's technique okay? Yeah. Hee, as long as master likes it. Murong AI seems to be very happy. She continues to scrub Li Fan's back and suddenly asked, Master, did you exchange blows with Yin Wuchao? Yeah, I exchanged a few blows. But he seems to look down on me and only used a little bit of his skill. Other than having the arrogance of an expert, he is not bad in other aspects. Hee, master, you still have to be more careful of this person. Murong AI suddenly said this. Didn't you say that he is chivalrous and courageous, making friends with all the heroes in the world? Li Fan is a little baffled. I feel that he is a good person. This servant is just reminding master. Walking in the Jianghu, no matter who you face, you must be more vigilant. Murong AI says her Jianghu Heart Sutra, especially this kind of person, the better the appearance, the more terrifying he is. Chapter 365. Like you? Li Fan's rhetorical question made Murong unbearably angry, but she endured it. I hate master, this servant is wholeheartedly good to master now. Believing your words is equivalent to slowly committing suicide. Master, you're so bad, this servant is not like what master thinks. Yes, you're worse than I thought. Li Fan's ridicule made Murong even more unhappy. Master. Do you want a comfortable chest push? Murong asked. Li Fan felt that his nose was about to bleed. Fuck, this won't do, I must not fall into Murong's trap. Master, do you want it? Forget it, where did your breasts come from? Murong felt that she was about to explode. Master is too bad. This servant will not serve master anymore. Tonight master will sleep by yourself. With that, Murong threw the towel on the wooden tub and turned to leave the bathroom. Li Fan finally breathed a sigh of relief. In order to prevent Murong from coming in again, he waved his hand and the surrounding cabinets moved, blocking the bathroom door. His use of true qi was becoming more and more skillful. Li Fan also stole half a day of leisure, so he laid in the wooden tub and slowly closed his eyes. Enjoying the hot water soaking, Li Fan circulated his true qi and fell asleep. As a possessor of the pure yang body, this kind of thing was still possible. But just as he fell asleep, a voice seemed to appear in his ears. Save me. Li Fan suddenly opened his eyes. Save me, that voice was still ringing in his ears. For a moment, Li Fan thought that it was another heart demon. But now, he began to wonder if he was hallucinating. Save me. No matter who it is. Save me, that voice rang out again. Li Fan finally realized that this was not an inner demon, nor was it an auditory hallucination, but someone's voice transmission from 1,000 miles away. Just who was it that could transmit sound from 1,000 miles to such a high level? Li Fan was a bit curious. Could it be that there were other experts within the monastery? Li Fan was woken up by this sound. He stood up from the wooden barrel, his true qi surged, his body emitted billowing hot air, evaporating all the moisture on his skin. He stretched out his hand, and the coat and trousers hanging on the hanger beside him flew over, and Li Fan put them on. Li Fan walked out of the bathroom and found that Murong had fallen asleep. He didn't wake Murong up. Instead, he quietly walked out of the courtyard and followed the direction of the sound. Save me, the sound became clearer and clearer. Soon, Li Fan arrived in front of a steep valley. This steep valley was very deep. Looking down, there was a thick fog, and he couldn't see the bottom. In this kind of place, even if one's qing gong was outstanding, he couldn't guarantee that he could survive unscathed. But this sound seemed to be coming from the bottom of the valley, but the thick fog blocked his line of sight, making him feel fear. I want to see what exactly is down there causing mischief. Li Fan summoned his courage and jumped down from the edge of the steep valley. Li Fan's body instantly penetrated the thick fog. Even with his skill, he actually felt a kind of cold here. The cold wind was biting. The cold wind here had already exceeded the range of a human. If it was an ordinary person, perhaps they would immediately be frozen into ice. Only by using true qi to protect their body could they guarantee temporary safety. But it was only temporary. Li Fan felt that this steep valley was bottomless. His true qi was of no use here. The wind was like a blade, making it impossible for his true qi to form a thin film, stabilizing his body in the air. This was already foreseen, but Li Fan didn't have the slightest change in his expression. When the car reaches the mountain, there will always be a way. Just as Li Fan thought of this, he prepared to continue controlling his true qi, stabilizing his body. But before he could react, both of his feet had already landed on the ground. Bang! The ground trembled slightly, and Li Fan himself was taken aback. He didn't expect that after falling for about 10 meters, he would already touch the ground. If not for his true qi filling his body, perhaps both of his legs would have been broken. Li Fan tried his best to penetrate the fog and looked around. He discovered that he didn't land on the ground, but landed on a cliff-like platform. But this platform wasn't big, only by jumping down from the edge of the steep valley, one could land on it. If one slightly changed the distance or position, it was possible to fall into the abyss of eternal damnation. He really didn't expect that under the courtyard, there was actually such a place. Li Fan was just rejoicing, but at this time, in front of that small platform, there was a cave. What made Li Fan surprised was that at the entrance of the cave, there was a giant ape sitting. This giant ape stood up, it was more than 3 meters tall. This was nothing, this giant ape's body was covered with a mysterious golden armor. This giant ape's gaze fell on Li Fan, it immediately roared and stood up. Fuck, what the hell is this? Li Fan was indeed a little surprised, there is actually a gorilla at the bottom of this valley? Looking at the surrounding cliffs, there were a lot of fruit trees, it seemed that the giant ape got its food from these trees. Roar! The giant ape roared twice, then clapped both of its hands, shaking out tumbling true qi. Fuck! Li Fan couldn't help but curse, a gorilla that knows internal force? This giant ape suddenly jumped up, its jumping ability was originally stronger than a human, coupled with the assistance of true qi, it directly jumped more than 5 meters high, appearing on top of Li Fan's head. Then, the giant ape slapped down on Li Fan, the power was absolutely terrifying. Good! Li Fan shouted, his entire body entered the bear cavalry state. His body suddenly expanded, tearing the clothes on his body, at the same time, his palms and the giant ape's palms collided. Boom! A huge wave of true qi immediately spread out, attacking the surroundings. The platform under Li Fan's feet also had a lot of cracks, it looked like it would collapse at any time. Li Fan felt that both of his arms were very heavy, it was obvious that this giant ape's attack was a bit too much for him to bear. Li Fan's left hand suddenly grabbed the giant ape's wrist, and then his body spun, throwing the giant ape's body out. The giant ape was very smart, its palm grabbed the platform, stabilizing its body, and with a flip, it landed back on the platform. Fuck, this guy is too smart. Li Fan can't help but grin, this is really a pain in the ass. Roar! Roar! The giant ape patted its chest, its palm hitting the bronze mirror on its chest, making a dang dang sound. It seemed to be mocking Li Fan, as if it looked down on Li Fan. Good, good, good. Then I'll play with you. Li Fan's body sank, his eyes revealing a bright light. Chapter 366. A giant ape that knows Kung Fu. Interesting. This is too interesting. Although Li Fan is surprised, he is still interested. Tonight's fight with Yin Wuchao was not enjoyable. This time, he can have a big fight. Friend, you must let me enjoy myself to the fullest. Li Fan raised his true qi, causing his tattered clothes to flutter in the air. It is unknown if the giant ape can understand Li Fan's words, but it actually started dancing on the spot. Damn, aren't you afraid of collapsing this place? Li Fan sighed. In the end, it is still a beast. He gave up the bear cavalry form and entered the ape face Buddha form. Since it is King Kong, I will use the ape form to fight with you. Li Fan said as he used the ape steps and arrived at the side of the giant ape. Li Fan's steps are like dancing, almost leaving afterimages as he approached the right side of the giant ape. The giant ape directly raised its palm and slapped Li Fan's body. Bam! Li Fan flew out like a cannonball. He turned his body around and stepped on the cliff, creating a dent in the hard cliff. Take this. Li Fan's body suddenly shot out, his speed is even faster, and in an instant, he arrived in front of the giant ape. The giant ape swung its palm again, trying to slap Li Fan away again. But this time, Li Fan's body shot out true qi, completely violating the laws of physics, forcefully stopping his body in the air. The true qi is like an exhaust, spurting out in front of Li Fan, causing him to stop just like that. And just like that, the giant ape's palm swung into thin air. The giant ape roared and finally stopped dancing, staring at Li Fan with a pair of big eyes. But Li Fan has already landed on the ground, and at the same time, the corner of his mouth curled up into a smile as he snapped his fingers. Li Fan's figure suddenly disappeared in front of the great ape. The great ape froze for a moment and scratched the fur on its head. Li Fan had already appeared behind the great ape. The great ape seemed to have sensed him and immediately swung its paw. Li Fan's body was torn in half and disappeared into the air. The giant ape had only broken Li Fan's afterimage. The real Li Fan had already appeared above the giant ape's head. Roar! The giant ape roared and raised its head. It raised both its palms to meet Li Fan's attack, trying to smash Li Fan into minced meat. Compassionate palm. Li Fan's palm descended on the giant ape's body. The giant ape's body suddenly sank to the ground, unable to get up from the pressure of the palm wind. Such a huge body could not move at this moment. Although Li Fan's merciful palm did not have any killing intent, it was very oppressive. The merciful palm was to leave a trace of life in the midst of death. The great ape's body could not move. It was suppressed by Li Fan until it cried out repeatedly, but it could not even struggle. Li Fan was still hanging upside down in midair. His merciful palm could not only suppress the great ape, but it could also support his body at the same time. But at this time, the platform finally could not withstand such a huge pressure. With a boom, it broke into several pieces and began to collapse. The great ape's body followed the broken platform and fell into the endless abyss. But at this time, Li Fan suddenly reached out and picked up the great ape's huge body, throwing it on the cliff. Bang! The great ape's hands crushed the mountain rocks. After all, it was a spiritual creature that climbed mountains all year round. Reaching the cliff, it was naturally like walking on flat ground. Go find your own way out. With a flip, Li Fan fell into the hole. The great ape looked at the hole twice and finally turned to crawl away. Li Fan had already successfully landed in the hole. Inside was a long flight of stairs that led to the depths. So deep, Li Fan reached out and took a torch hanging on the wall beside him. He followed the long flight of stairs and walked into the depths of the cave. The surroundings were quite deep, and he did not know where it led to. But since this steep valley was so high, it should be very deep. Li Fan's footsteps were not fast, but the cries in his ears were getting louder and louder. Save me! Save me! Li Fan was very curious. Who was it? The deeper he walked, the more uneasy he felt. Why did Yin Wuchao build such a bottomless place? What was it used for? From the looks of it, it should be a place to imprison people. What kind of person would be imprisoned in such a bottomless prison? Li Fan walked for a full 10 minutes and finally reached the bottom. It was actually a water prison. The humidity was very heavy. Li Fan took 2 steps and finally saw an iron cage built in this water prison. A long-haired man was sitting in the iron cage. His clothes were all tattered. The corner of his mouth slightly squirmed. It looked like he was just whispering, but the voice was buzzing in Li Fan's ears. Save me! Li Fan did not casually approach the iron cage. Instead, he stood 10 meters away from the water prison and stared at the person in the cage. Bang! The man in the cage noticed Li Fan. Like a wild beast, he suddenly jumped up and grabbed the cage with both hands, causing the cage to make a clanking sound. Finally, someone is finally here. The man's feet were soaked in the water, but his eyes were full of spirit as he stared at Li Fan. Who are you? Li Fan asked, why are you shouting in my ear? Save me, you must save me. I can't take it anymore. The man's mind did not seem to be clear. He kept roaring, causing the cage to make a clanking sound. Li Fan frowned slightly and suddenly shouted. Ah! Li Fan chanted the last word of the Buddhist 6 words Great Bright Mantra. Carrying the Buddhist power of the ape-faced Buddha, it vibrated in the man's ear. The man was startled. He looked at Li Fan blankly before his eyes regained a trace of clarity. Finally. Someone is here. His voice still sounded in Li Fan's ear, for 20 years. Day and night. I have been repeating the process of asking for help. In the end, I seem to only remember this. After being locked up for 20 years, this man probably had a mental breakdown. In the end, he could only rely on his instinct to call for help. Who are you? Why are you locked up here? Li Fan stood in the distance and asked. My name is Wang Sun. The man spoke slowly as if he was trying to remember how to speak and how to communicate with others. Wang Sun. Everyone calls me Heaven-Swallowing Eagle. Fuck. This man is the bandit Heaven-Swallowing Eagle. Damn, how could it be this guy? Weren't you killed by Yin Wuchao? Yin Wuchao. Yin Wuchao. Unexpectedly, hearing these 3 words, Heaven-Swallowing Eagle Wang Sun seemed to be stimulated. He held the railing tightly and roared loudly. His voice was like a tidal wave, rolling up the surrounding water with ripples, and the gravel above his head continued to fall. Chapter 367. This guy. His internal force is so profound. Feeling this powerful internal force, Li Fan can't help but feel surprised. Such a powerful internal force completely surpasses him. This guy is at least at the level of a grandmaster. Li Fan finds it hard to imagine that Yin Wuchao actually locked such a terrifying existence under his house. Heaven-swallowing eagle Wang Sen, if he is really an evil person, why did he keep him alive and why did he lock him up here? Yin Wuchao. That bastard. Wang Sen roars, it's him. He killed my entire family. And he even locked me up here. I'm going to kill him. Weren't you a bandit in the past? Li Fan can't help but ask. Of course I'm a bandit. Moreover, I'm the most powerful bandit. Wang Sen suddenly laughs, ha ha ha, within a radius of 1,000 miles, who dares to make an enemy out of me? Hearing my name, everyone will be scared to the point of crawling on the ground. Looks like this guy is really a bandit. Then it's impossible for me to let him out. But Yin Wuchao actually killed his entire family. This makes Li Fan a little surprised. This seemingly chivalrous Yin Wuchao actually adheres to the idea of cutting the weeds and eliminating the roots. Since you've harmed one side, you deserve today's ending. Li Fan takes 2 steps back. Those who walk different paths cannot make plans together. Goodbye. No, you, don't go. Li Fan turns his head and glances at the man in the cage behind him. This man's eyes are blocked by his hair, making it hard to see his appearance, but Li Fan seems to be able to see the anger and unwillingness in his eyes. You kill me. Wang Sen's request causes Li Fan to be stunned for a moment. This request is somewhat unexpected to him. I've lived long enough. As long as you kill me. Let me free. Wang Sen bitterly begs. Can't you just sever your own meridians? Li Fan asks, why do I need to do it? I have internal force. But the tendons in my hands and feet are all broken. Holy shit, it can still stand up and hold the cage when it's broken? I have sufficient inner energy and can barely move. The inner force automatically protected my body, so I couldn't attack myself with all my strength. Wang Sen sighed. If I had the ability to end my own life, I wouldn't have bothered you. Thank you, young hero, for freeing me. My life can be said to be full of vigor. I've lived enough. Looking at Wang Sen's miserable appearance, Li Fan couldn't bear to see him like this. As the saying goes, saving a life is better than building a 7-storied pagoda. Could this be counted as saving someone? Li Fan slowly walked to the front of the cage, but at that moment, Wang Sen suddenly reached out to him. A powerful suction force came over and grabbed Li Fan's body. Before Li Fan could react, he was sucked to the front of the cage. Then, Wang Sen grabbed his head from inside the cage. Kid, consider yourself unlucky. Wang Sen's hands were like iron hoop. Just like that, he grabbed Li Fan's head and started to absorb true qi from Li Fan's head. If you have any last words, quickly say them. The bitterness on Wang Sen's face disappeared. Behind his messy hair, a pair of eyes revealed endless malevolence. This Wang Sen had been in prison for 20 years and had actually learned such an evil technique that could absorb a person's power. Wang Sen's face was very proud as if he was about to be reborn. But Li Fan's face didn't change. He grabbed Wang Sen's wrist. Kid, if you don't say your last words, you will be sucked dry. Wang Sen said ferociously, to be able to become this uncle's nourishment is also your honor. When you see the king of hell, remember to report this uncle's name. Heaven-swallowing eagle. Li Fan finally knew the reason for his nickname. Wang Sen, right. Farewell. As Li Fan said that, the dantian in his body started to spin quickly like a turbine. Dragon Toad's absorption of water. Li Fan's palm seemed to have turned into a strong vacuum cleaner, forcefully sucking true qi from Wang Sen's body. Although Wang Sen was also sucking Li Fan's true qi, his speed was far inferior to Li Fan's. What? Wang Sen's eyes widened as if he didn't dare to believe what had happened. The evil technique that he had trained for dozens of years was actually broken by another kid today. How is this possible? Did I meet a ghost? Wang Sun thought that he had gone to hell, but Li Fan's dragon toad's absorption of water was very impolite and had completely seized the initiative. It could be said that Wang Sen's evil technique had stolen a portion of true qi from Li Fan's body, but Li Fan had already stolen 10% of Wang Sen's inner force. Wang Sun couldn't withstand it at all. Not long after, he was sucked dry by Li Fan and then thrown into the water by Li Fan. With a splashing sound, Wang Sun laid in the water. The ice-cold water covered his cheeks. Wang Sun looked at Li Fan and his eyes became unwilling. Please. Avenge me. After Wang Sun finished speaking, he finally closed his eyes. 20 years of imprisonment had come to an end today. Ah. Madam. I'm coming to find you, but Li Fan couldn't be bothered to lament about anything. He was currently feeling very uncomfortable. Wang Sen's inner force was definitely not low, but it was all absorbed by Li Fan just like that. Although he could only use 1/10, it was still not a small amount of power. This true qi was constantly rushing through Li Fan's body, stimulating every meridian and acupoint in his body. Two kinds of true qi were fighting in the body. This was the most painful thing. At this time, Li Fan's body was in such a terrible state. The two true qi each occupied an area, and Wang Sen's true qi had at least the power of 10 dragons. Even if it was only 1/10, it was still the power of 1 dragon. Li Fan had the power of 5 dragons in his body. Now he was fighting with the power of 1 dragon. It seemed that Li Fan's power had the upper hand, but because Li Fan only opened 6 of his 9 acupoints, the amount of power he could carry was limited. Therefore, it was very difficult for him to absorb the power of 1 dragon. It was like refueling a car. The car's fuel tank was almost full, but you still had to forcefully fill it with more fuel. As the fuel tank, Li Fan's body was naturally extremely uncomfortable. He felt like he was swelling up. All the blood vessels in his body were bulging and his veins were bulging, making Li Fan extremely uncomfortable. So uncomfortable, Li Fan took a step forward and stepped on the ground. The water surface was split apart, leaving a deep footprint. He extended his hand and grabbed the iron cage. With a roar, he pulled with both his arms and the iron cage's railings were immediately pulled apart. Wang Sen's true qi was also very overbearing, making it difficult for Li Fan to digest it. He changed the direction of all the true qi in his body. He temporarily ignored the power of 1 dragon left by Wang Sen and attacked the 7th acupoint. As long as he opened the 7th acupoint, he could smoothly absorb this power. Chapter 368. Li Fan let out a long roar, and the dungeon began to shake again, and gravel continued to fall. Li Fan stood among the gravel, but when these gravel fell near his body, it would be shattered by his true energy. He sat cross-legged on the ground, endured his pain, and focused all his attention on cultivation. He controlled the true energy in his body and began to attack the 7th acupoint. This kind of attack was almost out of Li Fan's control, because it was driven by Wang Sen's strength, crazily attacking the 7th acupoint. Li Fan felt as if he was being hit by a sledgehammer time and time again, and every time it brought with it a bone-breaking pain. Persevere. If he couldn't persevere, he would be finished. If it was light, his cultivation would be scattered, and if it was heavy, he would die from qi deviation. The defense of the 7th acupoint was very strong, like an impregnable city. No matter how the two true energy collided, it remained unmoved. Li Fan felt that this didn't seem to be a solution. Suddenly, he had an idea. He endured the pain and let the two true energy entwine together, turning into a drill-like shape, and then attacked the 7th acupoint. Like a drill, a crack finally appeared in the defense of the 7th acupoint. However, the pain on Li Fan's body had also reached its limit, and he couldn't hold on any longer. With no other choice, Li Fan could only first send Wang Sen's power into the God-connecting meridian. There was a very hidden place in the God-connecting meridian. Usually, he didn't know what it was used for, but at this time, it was the best place to store true energy. Li Fan temporarily stored the inner strength that he had absorbed from Wang Sen's body there, and his body also became much more relaxed. He himself was also lying in the cold water, and felt that he would have to take a bath when he went back, encountering such a thing. He didn't know if it was bad luck or luck. In short, he couldn't let Yin Wuchao find out that he had been here. He had locked up Wang Sen, so naturally, he had a use for him. Now that Wang Sen was dead, he might fly into a rage. Before he could rescue the young miss of the Yin family, he couldn't alert the enemy. Li Fan was about to leave when he suddenly realized that the posture of Wang Sen's corpse was very strange. He was clearly lying there, but his fingers seemed to be pointing into the distance, as if he wanted to tell Li Fan something. Li Fan followed his finger and found that he was pointing at a wall in the dungeon. The construction of this dungeon was quite exquisite. The surrounding walls were covered with reliefs. The statues were of several wisdom kings. Each of their faces was ferocious, and they looked more like Azuras. Wang Sen pointed at one of the statues of the Wisdom King with its hands raised high. Li Fan walked over and carefully examined the statue. He felt that the eyes of this statue were different from the others. There seemed to be slits. Li Fan was smart. He stretched out his hand and pressed on the gap. With a click, the eyeball with a slit was immediately pressed down. The relief's mouth suddenly opened and spat out a piece of parchment, which fell into Li Fan's palm. Li Fan raised the torch that he had placed beside him and carefully looked at the parchment. The picture on it was very familiar. It was still the picture of a monk, but the posture was slightly different. The previous picture of the monk was sitting cross-legged, but this one was a golden rooster standing on one leg. There was also an acupoint diagram on it, and it was the same as the acupoint diagram that Li Fan had. True Qi flowed in the opposite direction. Why is it such a diagram again? Li Fan was very puzzled. These two diagrams must have some connection. But what kind of martial art would use this kind of reverse method to practice? Li Fan couldn't figure it out. Now was not the time to study this. It was getting late. He had to quickly return to his room to avoid being noticed. He stuffed the parchment into his tattered clothes and followed the passage out of the cave. The precipice outside was not a problem for Li Fan. He climbed up in a few steps and returned to the courtyard under the moonlight. The lights in the small room in front of the courtyard were all extinguished. Apparently, the maid, Xiao Wu, had also fallen asleep. Li Fan quietly sneaked back to his room and closed the door of the room. He simply took a shower and lay down on the big bed in the room. This night was exciting enough. He didn't know if tomorrow would be even more exciting. Forget it. He would think about tomorrow's matter tomorrow. Li Fan turned off the light and closed his eyes. He was drowsy and soon fell asleep. The quality of sleep of a martial artist was generally better. Li Fan slept until dawn. He was woken up by Murong. To be precise, it was not woken up, but made. Li Fan opened his eyes and saw that the quilt was bulging. Obviously, there was someone hiding between his legs. Murong's little butt was still sticking out and swaying. And that rare refreshing feeling also proved what had happened. My sister-in-law actually used this kind of method to wake me up. Oh my God. These scenes, shouldn't they happen in a dream? Li Fan fiercely pinched his face. It was very painful. It was not a dream. Feeling Li Fan's movement, Murong's face came out from the quilt in front of Li Fan's chest. She smiled and said, "Master, you're awake. Master, from this morning, your combat power is very strong." Murong's love. You're wrong. But I'm hungry. There's nothing to eat, so I can only find something to eat. That thing can't be eaten. But Master's food is delicious. Since Master doesn't like it, then I won't eat it. Murong's love licked her lips as if she was about to leave. Li Fan subconsciously pressed her head and said, "Since you're my sister-in-law, it's natural for me to feel sorry for you. Don't be hungry, eat." Hee hee, thank you, Master. Looking at Murong's love head back into the quilt, Li Fan felt that he seemed to have really fallen this time. If Murong knew about this, he was afraid that he would lose his life. Does this count as my first time being taken away by my sister-in-law? It doesn't seem like it. Previously, Murong's love used a seductive method to make me do it. My head is in a mess. And before that, that island girl also used the same method to serve me. Li Fan fell into a deep entanglement. He felt that he was a little confused. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Mr. Li, breakfast is ready. Do you want me to bring it in? Murong's love was startled and stopped what she was doing. Li Fan also sobered up and said in a loud voice, "No need, just put it at the door for me." The voice belonged to the maid, Xiao Wu. Li Fan was so scared that his heartbeat accelerated. Although it was exciting to do something improper, it was really too dangerous. Master, I haven't eaten enough. Looking at Li Fan pulling up his pants, Murong's love felt slightly wronged. Xiao Ai, breakfast is here. Let's eat something normal. But I haven't eaten the most nutritious food yet. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.